Hi, creepies. I am ReAnimateHer. I know, it just sounds like a porno all of a sudden. Some zombies start stripping their clothes off and shit.
Cat dead. Details later.
We got our ball cleavage back, ladies.
They're coming to get you, Barbara. They're coming for you, Barbara.
Do you want a game and get your jollies off as well? This is Coffee Chat of Horrors. Hello, my friends. Hello, Dahi Yay for Internet. I want to introduce you to Molly Oblivion. This is Molly Oblivion. She is a horror podcaster. She runs a network called Final Girl Network. Actually, Final Girl Friday Network. I'm going to let her explain. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Hundar, thank you for the host. Here is Molly.
Hi, how's it going, everybody? Hello. Hello to everyone in chat.
No worries, Moon. Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's just my first time doing something quite like this, so it's just, I'm just trying to kind of adjust to the sort of audio of it all, but this is so exciting. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course, thank you for accepting the invite. I know it can be a little have anxiety for people who don't normally do certain live things like this, and I know you have a little bit of a background in the live and you do podcasting, so I'm super excited that you decided to say yes and come on the show, because you are our very first woman horror podcaster on the show.
That's fucking crazy.
It is.
Really glad. I'm glad to be here.
You have made history today. I'm excited because we had a female tattoo artist on the show, and she does horror tattoos. She's amazing. She's a lady in Canada here. So we've never had a female podcaster on, horror content creator. So you are one of the first.
Wow. Well, I'm honored, and that is a really cute, adorable puppy cat.
Yes, this is Fusa. She is my 15-minute of fame kitty. She loves the chat. Serial killers like Voorhees necklace, so that's a win. She likes Friday. She likes Halloween.
I do. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of all of the, pretty much all of the mainstream franchises for sure. I mean, I know I talk predominantly about some of the lesser known, more niche slasher films on my podcast. I haven't really talked much about any of the bigger franchises because so many other people have already done that. And, I want to kind of I want to shed some light on some of the lesser watched. But I love Halloween and Friday they're love.
Yes. And well, Halloween and Friday, they get a lot of, my other spawn is messaging me. They get a lot of talk about, right? Halloween, Friday the 13th, TCM, all of that jazz. They get a lot of headway within the horror community. Everybody has a YouTube or a podcast about them. But some of the indie films like come to mind, Cherokee Creek, or even like Jason Rising is a fan-made film. These things don't get the information out there that's needed.
That's so true.
Right? They don't. Dusty Balls, long time no see, buddy.
Well, I noticed. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go right ahead. Go for it. Nope, go for it.
I just noticed somebody in chat asked me about the mask, so I just wanted to say something about it really quickly. This is just sort of a part of how I handle being on camera. I'm extremely camera shy, and I have some issues with like the way my mouth looks when I talk. So this just cuts my anxiety out, so I can just kind of relax and have fun and talk.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? Whatever makes everybody comfortable with what they need, right? Like, there was a while that I didn't stream with a webcam. Quite some time I didn't stream with a webcam, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my podcast is all audio. I've had people ask me a few times if I would move it, over to YouTube, so that there could be some visual component. And it's so much more comfortable for me to just sit at home. That way I can, if I want, I can just sit in my fucking pajamas. There's no pressure to, create some sort of big presentation, which I don't have your style, you know what I mean? And so I just like to just sit at my microphone where no one can see me.
Right. And you know what? I definitely don't blame you on that one. I mean, I used to get teased quite a bit on this platform when I first started on Twitch because of how I look, and I'm a lot older than content creators. Jazz, thank you for them tiggle bitties. Maeve, good morning. Monkey, good morning. Eric, how are you? And Eric today is a vodcast. It's Coffee Chat of Horrors, and I have a horror podcaster by the name of Molly Oblivion on the show. She's here. She's here to talk about her favorite horror movies, her podcast, her TikToks. She also does a horror cosplay. We share the same love for the movie ReAnimateHer and Jeffrey Combs.
Hell yeah, we do.
But I'm wearing one of my Jeffrey shirts now. Well,
I should have worn one of my ReAnimateHer shirts. Oh, missed opportunity.
Definitely all good. Mindfulness. Hello. Yes, Dusty Balls. Eric69. Thank you for the follow, buddy. All of the channel points are off today because we have an interview. And Maeve, exactly. Molly, tell us a bit about your podcast, the network that you're creating. I want to know more about it. And how can I get involved?
Well, so the podcast that I do is called Final Girl Friday. Right now, it's just me. Thank you for the compliment to my shirt. It's Slaughter High. From Gutter Garbs, not an ad. But no, so it's just, I started a couple of years ago. I've been into horror my whole life. I always wanted to be on the radio, actually, growing up. That was my big dream. I worshipped Stevie Wayne from The Fog and thought, that's the dream life. But then radio sort of changed over time, and now radio has become podcast. A couple of years ago, I was living in very close proximity with someone that was not a fan of horror films. And I was just feeling this like increasingly pent up energy of like, I need to fangirl out, and I have no one within reach of me to do that with, And so I just sat down with a microphone one day, started talking, just rambling about, it was the first chapter of the new It films, and doing a sort of comparison to the miniseries. And it just sort of took off from there. And over time, it became more and more of a thing. Now I've been doing a lot more interviews and trying to help some of my fellow friends and content creators, some small-time directors, kind of try to promote their campaigns. Just trying to raise awareness for, horror creators that don't really have much of a platform outside of, the tiny little platform that I can offer them. So, and then that developed into the Final Girl Friday network. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rambling.
No, go for it. I'm getting educated here, so please go for it.
Well, I also write a lot of reviews. So I created the website finalgirlfriday.net, which is still it's very small time, but I just wanted a place where I could post some reviews that maybe didn't make it into my podcast scripts. And then I had a couple people from the slasher community, which that was what really changed everything for me, was joining slasher. And a lot of people from that community, a couple of them started contacting me and saying, hey, would you ever post anybody else's reviews on your site? I'm like, I would love to do that. And that planted the seed. And then a friend of mine, an SFX artist named Monica Gutierrez, super talented woman. Oh my God, she's amazing. She offered to start creating some SFX related content for the site. My boyfriend, who is a film composer, started offering to do some write-ups about like film scores and things like that. So we've just started creating this small network of fans and content creators to kind of create some topical material that will hopefully eventually become a much larger network of people that are just there to help support and promote horror content,
Right.
Yeah, that was a really long monologue.
No, that's great. That's great because, you are very, very similar to myself in that matter. We're Coffee Chat of Horrors. That's exactly what we do here. Is I don't always talk about the popular films and the movies. We bring on a lot of independent creators because I'm all about the indie people. I'm all about the directors and the actors and anybody that we do a lot of Indiegogos here. We advertise it to get backing for their films. So it's really awesome to hear there are more people out there doing that because, like I said, content creators like you and I and the independent artists, there is no big ad company behind us. There is no huge sponsorship. So it's up to us to get the word out. So it's exciting.
No, for sure. Well, and I mean, as far as how you can get involved, if you ever want to contribute anything, there's ever like, if you see a short film coming out from a friend, or if you discover somebody who's just got super awesome content anywhere that you want to showcase them or highlight them, Final Girl Friday is just basically a platform for that. Obviously you have, your own platform, we all do, but it never hurts to spread that out.
Networking.
I would love to actually do a write-up about Coffee Chat of Horrors. I don't know why I haven't done that yet.
I would be very honored. I definitely would be honored on that. And Joy Toy, yes, it is a new mug. Believe it or not, dollar store find. The
Oh, it's so
eyes
cute.
change colors. So it's black with no eyes, and you fill it up with something hot. And networking is great because in such a horror is a small niche. Not everyone thinks it's that big. It really isn't that big. It is a small niche, and when you have networking with other people, like there's the Slash and Cast crew on YouTube. I don't know if you know of them, but they have a podcasting network called the Slash and Cast Network. Bloody Disgusting has a podcasting network, and it's nice because they support smaller creators as well. Like when I say, I hate using the word smaller creators, but I mean Slash and Cast is a pretty big. Bloody Disgusting is pretty big. Like you got some really big guys up there, and they have their own networks of trying to rise other people up. So I think that's really good.
Yeah, no, I just think it's, really, it comes from a very selfish place, to be perfectly honest, because I love literally all horror, no matter what, or, how low budget, how seemingly awful, or how, small time it may be. Like, I love horror and I love horror fans, and I can't get enough of it. So, like, to me, I just want to try to help get as much of it out there as possible. So it's very kind of a selfish thing, because it's just like, no, I'm insatiable for it. And so I'm just doing everything that I can to try to help make sure that there's as much out there as possible.
I definitely feel you on that. One. I'm going to play one of, yes, Sprained, ask away. I have a notepad here. For those of you that are new to asking questions here on CCOH, I have a notepad and I copy your name and your question down and I paste it in the notepad. So in case we're already talking about something, I don't want you to think that we are ignoring you. It is copy and pasted and it'll be put in the notepad. So if you have a question, Sprained, please, anybody, questions, highlight them with the highlight thing that they have here. Tag me in it. Let me know, and I will make sure to respond. Mama Ducky likes your green plant there.
Yeah, I was just shaking its leaves for.
Mama Ducky is another huge horror fan. She likes
awesome.
The majority of the people in here are horror fans, or they enjoy the horror genre and the games.
Nice to meet everybody. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the games. I did that for a long time. I used to stream Dead by Daylight on YouTube. I did that for a few years, and I love it too. I mean, the horror gaming is just as much fun. Once you start doing a podcast, I find that I have no time for anything else.
Yep. There's lots of stuff going into creating content, whether it's just audio related content or visually. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Most people don't quite grasp how much work we do, even if it's just a podcast. They think, oh, well, you sit behind a mic. No. You do a lot more. You do a lot more behind the scenes, right? Editing. You never have a perfect run. Well, I never seem to have perfect runs. We do have a couple of questions for you. Eric69 wants to know, what is your view on the movie Hereditary?
Okay, well, so thank you for the question. I actually really enjoyed Hereditary quite a lot. I often cite it as one of the better horror films to come out in the last, decade or so. I mean, I wasn't as crazy about Midsommar, and I didn't ask about that one. That one I felt strayed a little bit too far into what I consider to be mean-spirited, gratuitous territory, but I felt like Hereditary was that sweet spot of like, it's going to destroy you, but with a kind of purpose and message behind it. And I love Toni Collette's performance in that film. 100% Oscar worthy. She was fucking robbed. I think it was spectacular. Good scares. It creeped me out, which is hard to do these days. So yeah, all around, I like Hereditary a lot.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't watched the whole thing. I kind of got a little bored, but I did like the head roll. I like that kill. That was definitely a good one. There was creepy moments. I will say that. I need to fully finish it. Hi, Strong. Yeah, no, I need to finish it. I did not care for Midsommar. I tried to watch it, and I it was an automatic turn off for me. So I just turned that off. Hereditary, I just didn't have enough time. Hereditary is like a a little over 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty long one.
Yeah. And so that's one of the main reasons why I haven't finished it yet. But I did get up to some head getting heads taken off.
I mean, that's, and as long as you saw that, you took away something from it. So that's,
Exactly.
yeah.
Hello, Strong. Thank you for the host. Hello, Super Mario. You really liked Hereditary until it fell apart at the end.
I mean, that's fair. I definitely see movies that fall apart much harder
Yes.
than Hereditary did, but I think that that's a fair criticism, for
Oh,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things though too, and I know, and it's the same for there's another film called We Need to Talk About Kevin. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but it's another one that, like, I don't even know if I could actually tell you objectively how great the rest of the film was, because I was so utterly blown away by the performance of the leading lady. And it was the same, for both Hereditary and We Need to Talk About Kevin. It's like, even if the movie had sucked, it didn't matter because Toni Collette was just blowing my mind the whole time.
You know what? Sometimes the acting, even if a movie is horrible and they have a lead role, or even just all the acting is very well done and put together, that can actually save a film.
It can. Yeah, I agree.
It can actually save a film. Sprain, thank you for the host as well. Mama Ducky wants to know, have you ever seen the movie Patchwork?
I have not seen the movie Patchwork.
Then you must. If you're okay, so I know you're a ReAnimateHer fan. Mm-hmm. Patchwork is a true homage to ReAnimateHer.
Ooh,
it's
okay.
Female-led. So it's about 3 females that go out on a party that wake up together. I'm just going to tell you that's it. It is on Shudder, if you have Shudder, but I'm sure you can find it anywhere online. It is a must-see, and it plays a lot of homage to Dr. Herbert West and the ReAnimateHer franchise.
Oh my God. Well, I'm in. I have Shudder, so I'll make sure to add that to I'll hunt it down, add it to my list. Thank you so much, Mama, for the recommendation.
Yeah. It was when I seen it, I had to shout it out at the top of everything because it was such a good show.
Yeah.
I know, right, Joy Toy? Shudder sponsorships. Let's go already.
Right.
Sprained Cube 7311 wants to know, what is your opinion on the new Halloween movie? And if you look it up, they are already in the works for one for 2022 called Halloween Ends.
Oh my God. I was really, really hoping nobody would.
I'm pretty vocal about my dislike for 2018. And
really,
I dislike 2018. I like the homage that they played, but I did not care for numerous aspects of 2018. And usually there's one of 2 of us that don't like 2018. Everybody else loves it.
Well, yeah, and that's where I've kind of been with it. Like, it's not like I censor myself. I have my opinions, and I try to be as open about them as possible. But when something is like really popular, I worry that I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade or take anything away from them. Like, just fucking love it. If you love it, love it. I did not love it. I gave it a shot, and I don't hate it with a fiery passion, really, but I am Laurie Strode to me, and I mean, I'm coming at this from like a person who's obsessed with the final girl trope perspective.
Yep.
I realize that it's Jamie. I realize that it's, she's putting herself into this, and I respect and appreciate it. I'm so happy that, they've sort of taken the franchise back, but that's not Laurie to me. The line between her and Michael is too wafer thin in this new incarnation. I loved the way they wrapped her story up with H2O, and it breaks my heart to see her quite so hard, if that makes sense. Like, I want there to be some humanity in her. It's what makes her Laurie. And
Agreed.
So that was my biggest gripe about the new Halloweens. It just went a little too edgy, a little too hard, a little too dark with, what for me was a kind of shining beacon of hope kind of character,
I agree. Yeah. To me, Laurie Strode was Sarah Connor from Terminator. And that's not Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode's the girl next door. She was the one that they all perceived to be weak, who changed everybody's mind by the end of the film, that she was a kick-ass strong female lead. And I think 2018 just went overboard with the female empowerment. Horror has always been about female empowerment, always. Yes. And it also has always showcased those that were perceived weaker by society to come out on top. Horror has never had to get any further than that into the political side of empowerment. This one just took it to the next level. I understand, female empowerment, yay, but this one kind of went a little overboard with it, in my opinion. And I didn't like the certain aspects of that new doctor.
Oh, same. It's I'm not trying to gatekeep either. Like,
No,
it's good
no,
that we continue to tell these stories, but
I
God, it was just,
agree.
yeah.
I am, however, looking forward to Halloween Kills that's coming out this October. I watched the trailer to that one, and it looks like they're to bringing it back to the original, but a little bit more intense. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that we didn't see all the good parts in the trailers, because movies nowadays, man, that they show you all the good shit right in, right in a trailer.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I just read one of the comments. It was hashtag bring back Buster Rhymes. Oh, that wins. That comment wins. Anyway, I'm sorry. But yes, no, I
Yeah,
agree with you. Everybody was so stoked for that trailer, man. And I mean, it was nice to see Michael impaling someone in a very dramatic way. I love the fire. You know, I'm a big fan
of
of
course.
fire.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it was exciting. I just tend to fall on the side of like what they're doing with Evil Dead or Candyman, even, where it's like, we're going to take this universe and we're just going to tell a totally new story with totally new characters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I want someone else to kind of be like a new Michael Myers, but it's like, if they're gonna keep the Halloween franchise going, why not just take it back to like Season of the Witch, where we
Yes.
just start telling new stories set on Halloween that have that connective tissue? I don't know. I think that
I
would be
agree.
really cool.
I love
Yeah.
Season of the Witch. I think that was it. 1, 2, and 3 are my most favorite of the Halloween franchise, and Season of the Witch gets a lot of flack, but it was a takeaway, Michael, and it was a great, well-rounded film in my eyes. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, same. I'm a big fan of 1, 2, 3, and H2O. Those are the ones that I really
I
love.
like H2O.
Yeah, all due respect to the Jamie Lloyd storyline and Paul Rudd, but like for the most part, it's 1, 2, 3, and H2O for me. But yeah, I agree. I think they just shot themselves in the foot, you know, by doing the second film before putting out Season of the Witch. I just think it was too confusing for audiences.
Well,
Yeah.
we didn't have the internet back then, so
I know.
you weren't able to look it up and see. Oh, there was no real connect. Well, there was sort of kind of connection, but no real Michael was there. Most people were disappointed because they thought Halloween 3, oh my Lord, another Michael, right? And Michael wasn't in there, so a lot of the fans, that's exactly what their reasoning for not liking Season of the Witch. And I was like, yes, but get over that.
Yeah.
Get over that and
over
see
it.
what really good the movie actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
Crazy. And Mama Ducky, I agree with you. It's hard to replace an icon like Donald Pleasant as Dr. Loomis. You can't put anybody in his place. It's just not going to work.
No, it's so true. That was actually one of the biggest reasons I had such a problem with the Rob Zombie Halloweens, was because I love Malcolm McDowell. I love him so much, but he wasn't Loomis. He was never going to be Loomis. And then when you add the sort of, you know, kind of cockiness and that kind of the douchebaggery that we often see in zombies characters to the character of Loomis, it felt so wrong. I wanted to take a fucking shower afterward. It was like, that is not Loomis. What have you done?
I completely agree. See, I did like in Rob Zombie's Halloween, what I did like is the monster that they made Michael into. You always hear Loomis saying he's a monster. He has no soul, black eyes. You always hear him talk about it. I like the violence that he brought. I did not care for the family dynamic. I did not like the way they represented the doctor. I didn't like the fact they had Michael eating out of garbage. But I did like the violent aspect of Michael. I know he's a cold, calculated killer, but I do like the way he was so violent, especially the stabbing scenes in that film. I was like, I'm a gore whore all the way. So the more blood, guts, and ass on the screen, I'm super excited about. And the stabbings in that movie, I was like, oh my Lord. The rest of it, but the violence, I enjoyed that.
Oh no, absolutely same. Tyler Mane was my favorite thing about that interpretation. I thought, and it wasn't just the violence, although I did enjoy for what it was. Again,
right.
You know, it didn't quite feel like a Halloween film, but I loved seeing Michael as such a hulking, just horrific figure. He was so fucking scary.
Yeah.
You know, and so that I really dug. So I get that. I agree with you.
Yeah, no, he was scary, because could you imagine meeting up with that Michael compared to the Michael from 78? Which one do you think you can take on? I think I can take on 78. The other one? I don't know about that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I'm definitely more afraid of Zombies Michael than I am Carpenter's. Although Carpenter's Michael is sexier. So, it's a give and take.
Of course. Yeah, it is a give and take. And I definitely agree with you. I have a girlfriend who lives in Australia by the name of Miss Machiavelli. And oh my God, does she ever love Michael?
Yeah. Something about that. I think it's the Shatner effect. It's something about Michael.
William Shatner. That's what he's, his face is basically after. And William Shatner was a sex symbol back in the day. So I think that, plays in that part. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I think so.
Yeah. Me too, horror freak. Oh, we have a question from Regal Horror Freak. I wanna pin your thing here because I wanna bring that up with Molly here. So hold on, let me just pin that. But Regal says, Molly, hello and welcome. What is your preferred horror genre and one that gets you hyped for scares the most?
Oh, I love that. That's great. Hello, by the way. Thank you. Really happy to be here. My preferred horror genre is slashers, hands down, no contest. I'm a bit of a slasher fanatic. And as far as like one that gets me hyped for scares the most, oh man, that's a really good question. It's been a really, really long time. Well, actually, we were just talking about it. Hereditary, I think, was the last movie that genuinely really scared me. So one of my all-time favorite horror films is actually not a slasher film. So it's so funny because I'm like, I love slashers, and now I'm not talking about slashers. What is that? You're a gorilla now.
Oh, I am. I have. I'm sorry. My subscribers here get to change my face filters, so it's a program called Snapcam that is. They can change me into the nun, a gorilla, orangutans, cockroaches. So
that's amazing.
Sorry to throw you off there for a second, and now I'm a llama, and normally I do this voice.
And I say I'm a llama mama from hell. Thank you for summoning me.
Oh
Molly,
my
it's
God.
nice to meet you.
Oh, that was fabulous. Thank you for that.
You are quite welcome. Oh shit, it went to my masks. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Now go ahead.
What was the question? Molly has been broken.
Yeah. Oh, God damn, there goes the filter again. So the question was by Regal. She wants to know, Molly, what is your preferred horror genre and what gets you hyped for the scares the most?
Oh, okay. All right. So preferred horror genre slashers, we covered that. All right. No, not again. All right, I have to not look at the screen.
I just took the filter off.
Is slashers. No, it's fine. No, and so the phrase hyped for scares, I hope I'm answering this correctly, but like, so probably the most like unsettling and emotionally disturbing horror film I've ever seen, not a slasher, but it's The Exorcist 3, followed closely by quasi horror film in the same universe, Ninth Configuration. So like that's the kind of stuff that really scares me, is that more sort of psychological disturbance. As far as like something within my preferred genre that is like, actually genuinely super scary, it's really hard to say. Because that's not why I love slasher films. I mean, they don't typically really scare me. I'm sure that there are a few that I could cite, but like when I was a kid, if you consider Nightmare on Elm Street a slasher franchise, like New Nightmare really scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. That kind of thing. But yeah, so scariest movie, I think to me, most disturbing movie would be The Exorcist 3. I hope that was the right answer.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get my one filter, just won't stop going back on. I'm trying to get it to turn off.
But really wants you to be a bat.
Yeah, yes it does. Sometimes my gremlins in my computer, because I do have gremlins, my PC is possessed, so some strange shit will go on while I'm streaming. It's out of my control.
That's appropriate,
Well, it's hard to find movies that really scare me nowadays. I mean, I love the slasher genre, but I'm a more of a gore and disgusting, like a shocking kind of films like Cannibal Holocaust. That was one of Headless. And have you seen Headless yet?
I have not seen Headless. I have seen Cannibal Holocaust, but not Headless.
Those are my type of films. I like the shock value of them. I love the slasher franchise, and my favorite is Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. But movies are hard to scare nowadays. What really gets me is those home invasions. Those strangers, Last House on the Left, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. I am a fan of some home invasion films, you know, quite a lot, like Funny Games. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sure you've probably seen Funny Games, right? Have you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I've also seen, oh my God, I can't think of it. They wear animal masks.
They wear animal masks.
They wear animal masks like a lamb. Oh my God, it's on Netflix. You're Next. Thank you,
Next.
Strawberry.
Yes.
Thank
You're Next
you.
is wonderful.
The Farm also. Yes, I actually have someone coming on the show that was in The Farm.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah. But go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's great. I'm gonna have to check out The Farm. I haven't seen it. I loved Your Next, though. I thought that was brilliant. It was a really good movie.
Yeah. Some of them could be a little touchy, like I said, like Last House on the Left and I Spit on Your Grave. The originals, like some of them can be a kind of trigger starter for some. So
well, you know, and actually, that would be another good one, I guess, you know, that I could cite as like something that's more adjacent to my preferred subgenre that actually still scares me would be the original Texas Chainsaw. You know, that's one for sure. Yeah.
Yes. I love TCM. I really do. It's one of my, I love cannibals. Cannibals are my favorite. So TCM, Hills Have Eyes, The Farm, a lot of those are right up my alley when it comes to cannibalism. Something that scared me, though, was Candyman. I wasn't old enough to actually see it, so we snuck in. I was like 16 or 17 at the time when Candyman came out. I couldn't use the bathroom with a mirror in it the same again. I had to throw towels and shit over that, open up the medicine cabinet because I could not go into the bathroom knowing that possibly Candyman can come through the goddamn mirror and get me while I'm sitting on the toilet. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's great though. That's what I've been chasing, man. That's what I've been chasing my whole life is that kind of fear. Because mine was it was Halloween 2 when I was a little kid.
Right.
Halloween 2 was the first horror movie that ever gave me nightmares. And well, yeah, the first horror movie that ever gave me nightmares. First movie to ever give me nightmares was The Burbs. But
yes.
scared the shit out of me when I was little. But the first horror movie I remember giving me nightmares was Halloween 2. And it was similar for me in the sense that like every time a phone rang, anytime I was lying alone in the dark at night, taking baths, like so many things freaked me out for so long after that. And Michael, I saw him everywhere. I mean, it was just through windows and around corners, I just would see Michael Myers' face, you know, as a kid. It scared the hell out of me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you know, younger, I don't there wasn't anything that really frightened me. The Wizard of Oz is not as a non-horror, but that one bothered me as a kid, seeing that as a kid. But none of the actual horror films that I seen, I watched, like I fell in love with the zombie genre because of Night of the Living Dead, black and white 1968. That got me falling in love with the zombie genre. But that didn't scare me. It wasn't until I was 16, like I said, and I seen Candyman. I did a lot of that stupid crap as a kid. Bloody Mary, light as a feather, stiff as a board, you know, all that shit.
We did that.
I did that as a kid. And, you know, as a kid, you're like, your heart's racing like Bloody Mary. And I'm like, oh my God, do I really want to say it again? And, you know, I had friends that scared the ever-living shit out of me when we did it. And I think that just stuck in my psyche when I seen Candyman. Because I was a lot older when I seen I was 16 compared to the time when I was like 12 doing Bloody Mary in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So
no, that's so funny. I remember because I was born in '83, so I was like peak influential age at the time that The Craft came out. You know, and I was a goth kid in high school, junior high school, high school. Yeah, so I remember my friends, I vividly remember us trying at every sleepover, trying desperately to play Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board in a way that would work and getting so pissed off when it wouldn't. Oh, man.
And before that movie came out, we were doing that shit. Me and my friends were doing Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board. We were doing it in the front yard. We were doing it at sleepovers. That was something. And then when The Craft came out, because I was like 12 years old, even younger when we were doing that Light as a Feather thing, And then The Craft came out. That just was like, oh my God, look at that. And growing up with that kind of religion in my life, because was raised with pagan background. So having the witchcraft and Wicca and all that. So when Craft came out, that blew my mind to actually see something of that intensity on the big screen. We've always seen things like Sabrina the Witch and Bewitched and stuff like that, or the evil witches in the Disney films. But seeing something like The Craft come out,
yeah,
blew my mind on that one. And Craft Legacy wasn't bad. It was definitely geared towards the newer generation, obviously, because when I seen The Craft, it was definitely geared towards our generation.
yeah. Absolutely. No, for sure. For me, what I guess spoke to me the most about The Craft at that age was the goth representation, because that wasn't something that I had seen much at all, unless, you're talking about like Alex Proyas just sort of existing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, goth representation was not really a thing.
Oh.
And when it was done very poorly. So it was just so nice. In The Craft, Veruza Balk, her character may have been such a villain, but it was she was like a beacon of hope for us, She was like an icon. Yeah.
She's awesome.
She was amazing. And it's so funny that you say that Wizard of Oz scared you when you were a kid, because Return to Oz scared me as a kid. And she was the lead in that. And that was the most traumatizing children's movie. And so it's just so funny that Wizard of Oz was just scaring us both in different ways.
Yeah. Well, those little Oompa Loompas, not the Oompa Loompas, that's Charlie and that the factory there.
Yeah.
But the little lollipop guys, and if I remember them correctly, that really bothered me to see the way they looked with their faces and their colors, and it was like, oh my Lord. And I seen that as a little one.
With their voices, yeah, that was fucking scary.
Yeah, the Lollipop Guild, yes, Reegs, yes, those were some scary times. And then seeing all the stuff that was happening around it, it was like, oh my Lord. And yes, I will agree, Return of the Oz is crazy. If you haven't seen Return of the Oz, definitely check it out.
I actually just went back and watched it last week. It scared me.
No, you talk. I was just holding on to myself so I can copy Faceless's question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. No, I was just gonna, just say, yeah, I went back, because I was gonna make a TikTok about, it was one of those Stitch things, like Stitch this, what's a film that scared you that was not supposed to be scary. And I was gonna showcase like 3 different scenes from Return to Oz. And so I was going back and watching it to pick those scenes out, and I'm just watching it like, this has not gotten less scary. Like, what the hell? I'm 38 years old and I'm still freaked out right now.
It's crazy. It's crazy how that stuff sticks with you as well as you get older. It doesn't seem to go away.
Yeah,
I'm super excited for the Candyman that's coming out in a few days. I'm excited to go and see it. Like, I'm excited to see, because it's in the same universe, right? Like Spiral's in the same universe as the Saw franchise. It's not particularly Saw, but it's in that same universe. We do have a question from Monkey Van Meowerton. Molly, you love his name, right? That's why I had to say the whole name, because I love Monkey's name. Molly, have you ever seen the movie The Monster Squad? It was my introduction to the classic movie Monsters.
I absolutely have seen Monster Squad, 100%. I actually was just lamenting, being worried about them remaking it, because they had tried to remake it, I think in 2016. I want to say, like, it was greenlit, and then thank the gods, like a bunch of shit happened to stop that from happening. And there's been talk recently about them trying to remake it again. So I was just talking about that the other day. I love it. It was definitely one of the more like developmental films for me as a kid, for sure. It definitely made me love horror.
Definitely, because that's we had Monster Squad, Little Monsters with Fred Savage. These are the Fright Night. These are the things that when I grew up, this is stuff that I watched. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is geared towards my age in the horror genre, right? Because I wasn't allowed to go see horror movies in the 80s, late 80s. I wasn't able to see a Friday the 13th in the movie theater. Joe was only a couple of years old when it came out, but it's not like that was something for me to watch. Oh, a quick interruption while we're on the Monster Squad. Serial Killer wants to know, Molly, Monster Squad or Goonies?
Oh, that's such a hard question.
It is.
I love them both. I love them both. Oh God, I feel like I'm gonna get my like horror podcaster
Not at
license
all.
revoked.
Not at all.
Probably Goonies. Probably Goonies. I'm a bigger fan of the practical effects and the effects makeup in Goonies. I love Monster Squad. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but you know, I don't know. I just completely fell in love with some of the character designs and the fantasy aspect of Goonies in a way that as a kid, I used to play and reenact Goonies when I was a child. I don't think I did that with Monster
Who
Squad.
didn't? Because I used to do that with my cousins.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, they're both great. They're both great.
They are. I personally loved, for me, if I had to choose, it's going to be the Monster Squad because I just love those monsters. But it's a really hard question because I loved both films. They were both geared towards my generation when I was growing up. And I did. I have a big family, and me and my cousins were only about a year apart, and we played Goonies. We would pretend to be on ships, and, we'd have our pretend treasure maps that we would create. And I had a blast with that. We would also do the Monster Squad hunting for monsters and things like that. So it's really hard question just to pick. And one thing here, Molly, you don't have to worry about. We don't gatekeep. We're not going to pull a horror card because you chose Goonies. That's something we don't believe in here. There's enough of that out there that we try to get rid of that here.
Good. I am so glad. And I mean, it's everybody loves things for different reasons at different times, and and that's important. And I also think I'm a little obsessed with horror dances.
Yes,
and I
you
know
are.
The Goonies was one of the first movies that ever had like a dance in a movie that was somewhat horror. I used to do the truffle shuffle all the frickin' time, and I think that's another reason why I love the Goonies so much. Because it planted that seed of like horror dance obsession with me. Yeah,
for sure. And I when I met you on TikTok, it was through that video that you did on Nightmare on Elm Street, where he does the dance. And I said I did that on live stream. This was the live stream I did that on. I have a thing that they made me do, and they were like, we want you to do this dance from this one. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And I had to do that live. So I was loving the fact that you did it and you put it on TikTok. And we're definitely going to check out some of your TikToks. Why I put on some of these other questions for you. Hello, Han. How are you?
Hey, Han. Sorry, Han is a friend of mine. Thank you so much for joining us, Han. I'm so glad to see you here.
I have her own opinion, a person that has her own thoughts and feelings. Right, Serial? Oh, my God. It's amazing. Mike 777 wants to know, random opinion, Dr. Sleep was really good. Sequel to The Shining. Did you like Dr. Sleep? Have you seen Dr. Sleep?
Yeah, I saw it on opening weekend. Really enjoyed it very, very much. I actually just got the Blu-ray recently, and I've been looking forward to diving a little bit deeper into it, because I've only actually seen it that one time in the theater, and I usually like to hold off on like reviews of films until I've seen them a couple of times, because that when you're so excited, especially in the movie theater, and there was so much hype. I love Mike Flanagan, and so like I went in kind of biased, and so I want to watch it again. But I did a sort of first impressions review of it, and it was just all complimentary. I thought it was wonderful. I feel like the third act is a little bit messy. Talking what we were talking about earlier about films kind of falling apart at the end. I feel like Dr. Sleep kind of fell apart a little at the end, but everything leading up to it, it was such an incredible journey. Fantastic female villain, really great leads. Loved Ewan McGregor in the role of grown up Danny. I thought he was perfect for that. All in all, I thought it was a really good sequel. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. My husband, Heavy, he is not a horror fan, and I had him sit through Dr. Sleep. He's seen The Shining, so I had him sit through Dr. Sleep, and he actually enjoyed it. So when someone's not a horror fan that actually sits back and enjoys something like that, I was like, that's it's a good movie when. Yeah, except for Serial's wife. I disown Katrina on that one. She really liked Halloween 2018. She's never seen it. She's not a horror fan, and she's seen it, and she's like, oh, this is a really good movie.
Like I said, we all have our things.
We do. We definitely do. Hey, Devil Dog. I am going to show some of your TikTok, but Horror Freak was mentioning this movie called The Last Matinee. Have you heard about it yet?
No, I have not.
I think it's out on VOD. I'm trying to find it here in my country. It looks really good. It's an independent film, and it looks like it's going to be gory. It's called The Last Matinee. And it's, I believe, in Spanish, so there will be English subtitles.
Oh, that's fine.
But put that on your list. And
Last Matinee.
Last Matinee. And Horror Freak 2780 also wants to ask a question from Molly. If you got killed in a horror movie, what choice of death would it be? And by what horror villain? And I'm going to go and play some of your stuff while you discuss that.
Okay. That's a really fun question. I think if I had to pick how I was going to die in a horror film and by whom, there are a lot of really like different answers there, but I think I would probably like to be killed by Russ Thorn. Or actually, no, sorry, I don't know what my bangs are doing. No, I take that back. Not Russ Thorn. Just the driller killer in Slumber Party Massacre 2. I would want him to dance for me as he killed me. I think really maybe like drill to the throat. It would be, you know, a little brutal, but it would be fun, cinematic. I'd get to see some really great dance moves along the way, good music. I think, yeah. I mean, other than that, obviously, if I could just die of natural causes, be brought back to life by Herbert West, and then killed by him, that would probably be my other answer.
That would be awesome. That would definitely be awesome. And that is definitely a great question and a great answer. What you see right here, this is Molly Oblivion's Dr. Herbert West cosplay. And she's got numerous awesome videos on her TikTok. If you do exclamation point guest in the chat, you will get her information if you need. Also, she has a link tree, which I am going to get because I just seen it on TikTok. So I'm going to do that right now.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem. I just seen it. I didn't realize that you had a link tree. I must have missed it the last time. Mind you, I didn't fine tooth comb stalk your stuff. But there's the link tree if you guys want to see any of that right there. But there's her podcast, and there's her TikTok was right there, and the Instagram as well. And in the link tree, she has a YouTube channel. She's got a whole bunch of stuff in there, website, merch, the whole kit and caboodle. So make sure you check that out as well.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Hold on, let me get this here for serial killer. Not Molly, did you get your hands on the Scream Factory Anika figure that came out with the Slumber Party Massacre release?
No, and it was sitting there on my wish list on Scream Factory. Like, it was sitting there forever, and I wanted so badly to buy it. And I was like, okay, I couldn't just, I don't have a lot of money, so I couldn't justify dropping the money on it at the time. And I was like, it's fine, I'll get to it. And then when we got our, I think it was our second stimulus check, I didn't have to spend all of that check on, bills and things like that. So I was like, okay, it's time. And it was fucking gone. Like, it wasn't available anymore. And I was so sad.
Yep.
I loved that figure. I wanted it probably more than I've wanted any action figure in my life, was that Russ Thorn.
Yep. That's my issue too. Money doesn't grow on trees in my world. So there's a lot of things that I miss out on because I'm like, and plus in my country, it's basically double the price because we've got to do the exchange rate, right? So
where do you live?
Canada.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
we've got to pay import fees, exchange rate on products. So it's really difficult to get your hands on things because it's like $80 for the figure. And then you've got, by the time you get it here, you're paying over $100. And don't mind me, I'm just going through your TikToks here, showing off some of the cool stuff that you do on your TikTok.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That one is it's just an excerpt from the podcast from when Josh Bragg came on the show, and we talked about the Slumber Party Massacre, actually, because he had just seen it for the first time. He just started watching horror movies, slasher films recently. And so I had told him, I'd recommended Prom Night and Slumber Party Massacre to him. So we got to talk about that on the show, and it's really great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Get more people into the slasher genre.
Oh, for sure.
And
yeah.
These are these. I love these. I love these things that you showed here in this video.
That was the mask that I got?
The mask, and then what's the other? There was another TikTok that you opened up. You had a package. Oh God, I can't remember the little
those. Okay, that one is the stapled spines. That was So Rudo Moralia, from Portland, he has a horror zine called Stapled Spine, and I ordered actually because of Josh Bragg from Haunting Season. He recommended it, and I had to order some for myself. And they are fantastic horror zines. A lot of them have to do with like what they call Horror Oregon, so
Right.
it's like the Portland horror scene. But then there are some really fantastic reviews and just some really nice write-ups and articles. They're great zines. I was so glad to have them.
Yeah. No, that was awesome. Those were really cool that I got to see. Do you know who the Merkins are by any chance?
I do. I love the Merkins.
The Merkins
Yeah.
are awesome. Joey Toy wanted to know that one. Okay. So, let's see here. Mama Ducky says, has Molly seen the horror movie Fortress with Rachel Ward? That movie was very creepy, and the bad guys had evil masks like the infamous Father Christmas movie.
Oh my God, no. I haven't even heard of that. So that's going on my list too, for sure. Oh, that one was stupid.
I want to get your dances. I wanted to show some of your dances because that's how I found you. That is how I found you. So I definitely need to show them. I'm just gonna go like this to show them your dances because they're
Okay.
fucking epic.
I really need to do another one soon. It's been a couple weeks. I wanted to do the Driller Killer from Slumber Party Massacre too. I swear there are other movies that I like, but I wanted to do his dance, but I'm just too out of shape for it. So I have a couple planned, but the production is going to need to be a little bit bigger than some of the other ones. So I just keep not doing them, and I really miss dancing on TikTok. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are. I'm hoping this one's gonna play. It's spinning. I think TikTok might be having some issues.
Aw.
Yeah, it's just spinning. It's like
Yeah. Maybe it just
Gonna
doesn't
catch
want to
up.
show the creep show dance. It can't handle the Ed Harris moves,
right? They can't handle your moves. It's just too hot. I want it to play. Damn it. Well, hopefully it'll play for us. Hopefully. Now, Faceless Melancholy wants to know, Molly, what was the first horror movie you have ever watched?
So the first horror film I ever remember watching was Cat's Eye. I don't remember what year it came out, but I remember Cat's Eye, and I remember the segment with Drew Barrymore where there's like that little troll comes out of her bedroom vent, stands on her chest, and like sucks the life out of her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that scared the crap out of me. That was the first horror movie I ever remember watching.
That came out late 80s. I believe it was after Firestarter. I want to say it was after Firestarter. Firestarter came out earlier 80s, probably 85, 86, 87. I'm going to say late 80s Cat's Eye came out. Cat's Eye is a great film, and that's a creepy son that would sit on our chest. Yeah.
What about you though? What was the first horror movie you ever saw?
Oh, my very first was Friday the 13th. I was on a tube TV. I was only about 5, 6 years old. Oh, there we go. It finally played.
I can't believe I do this shit on the internet.
But it's awesome, though. It's definitely awesome. I watched Friday the 13th. My aunts, which were only they were about 16 years old when they were babysitting me. They were watching it on a TV in my grandparents' bedroom in the dark. They ran out scared, and here I am sitting there not understanding what's happening on the television. But that was my very first horror film that I actually watched accidentally, which got me into it. Then much later on, probably around 8 years old, besides the Monster Squad coming out and me seeing the Monster Squad, would be Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, these are great. These are definitely great. Serial Killer wants to know, have you seen the It's Alive series or Agnes of God? I finally got Agnes last night and have been looking for it for years.
I have not seen Agnes of God. Is that what that's called? I've actually not even heard of that. I have seen It's Alive.
I love It's Alive.
What is Agnes of God?
Oh, I wonder if we can get, hold on. Let's see if we can get a trailer. It is a film that came out in the 80s, but let's see if we can get a trailer. Aren't these dances great? And if you have TikTok, you can actually follow her on TikTok. and get to see some of these awesome stuff that she does.
It's painful watching my own shit.
Awesome, Reeks. Awesome. Thank you for the follow over there for Molly Oblivion.
Yes, thank you.
Same. It shows how much the 80s movies rule. Oh, 80s definitely ruled. Jake, thank you for the tig old biddies. We're going to pause this and we're going to show the trailer. Whoopsies. We are going to show the trailer to Agnes of God so then you can see what it's about.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'm very curious. The title is nice.
Yeah. Fenris wants to know, do you like Full Moon Productions? While I get this ready, you can answer that one.
No, it's totally fine. Yes, I absolutely adore Full Moon. I just started kind of down a path with it. I have an episode of my podcast called it's like my crash course education in Full Moon, where I watch like Bad Channels, Demonic Toys, Puppet Master, and then I watched just been slowly watching the rest in the Puppet Master and Demonic Toys franchises. I just watched Dollman versus Demonic Toys for the first time a couple months back. Huge fan. I really love, and I know that we sort of mentioned this earlier, but ReAnimateHer is my favorite horror film of all time. Huge Jeffrey Combs fan. And Jeffrey Combs, of course, has been in a handful of Full Moon movies. And, those families are sort of interconnected, the sort of Stuart Gordon and the Full Moon families. So, yeah, that's actually like my wheelhouse. Yes, huge fan.
Yes, it's a great one to be in love with. I have seen it, Grandpa. Have you seen, Grandpa Cyrus would like to know, hold up, let me chat just moved really quick here. Where are you, Grandpa? Grandpa wanted to know if you've seen the movie Fog.
Fog?
The Fog. The Fog.
Oh, The Fog, yes. Stevie Wayne was actually the reason why I now host a podcast. She was one of my heroes growing up, Adrienne Barbeau in general, but specifically the character of Stevie Wayne, one of my favorite fictional characters of all time.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That is, I love Adrienne. She is amazing. And
she's a goddess.
She really is. Evil Ash Campbell. This here, what I do is Coffee Chat of Horrors. It gets done every Sunday. And my interviews get done during whenever we have guests that I have guests on the show. We do this as well. Molly Oblivion does have a podcast herself that she does. If you do exclamation point guest in the stream, because this is my guest today, is Molly Oblivion. She is a horror podcaster. She's also a cosplayer. So if you do exclamation point guest in chat, you'll be able to get all of her stuff. And did I just fail at doing that link tree again? I did fail at that. Son of a bitch. I will get it again. My God, I messed that up. But we do have the trailer for Agnes of God. I'm going to show that. I'm going to make it big screen. And we are going to see, we're going to turn the volume up here. And here we go. This is the trailer. They can play on the wrong friggin' thing.
If she's so innocent, how come she murdered a child? She didn't. I never saw the baby, so I can't talk about the baby because I don't believe in the baby.
There was blood on her hand that night.
Who? Mother Superior?
The sheets. Oh, dear God. I should have guessed. I should have suspected something.
I woke up, there was blood on the sheets, but I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did wrong.
I'm the doctor. I'm the one that's going to decide what is or is not important here.
I know what you are. I don't want that mind cut open.
I want you to remember, if you can, a night last January.
What is it?
Someone's following me.
Who? What do you need?
Answers.
You think the girl's innocent?
I don't know.
Maybe she's perfectly sane, just a very good liar.
There is more here than meets the eye, isn't there? Lots of dirty little secrets. You lied to me.
Why would I lie?
Because it's murder we're talking about.
Never saw any baby. I think they made it up.
I panicked before or after you killed the child.
I don't know why I should be punished.
What happened to the baby?
She can't remember!
What happened to the baby?
It was dead.
It was alive, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Yes, that is Agnes of God. Oh, crap. That was loud. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. Damn.
Yes.
Okay.
It's definitely creepy.
Yeah, no, that looks amazing. I love Meg Tilly. I loved her in Psycho 2 and Bancroft Jane Fonda. That's a fucking fantastic cast. Wow. Thanks for that recommendation because I'm going to be looking that up real soon. That looks amazing.
Yes, it's definitely good. Have you seen the French movie Martyr?
Martyrs.
Martyrs,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So
And Saint Maud.
No.
Saint Maud's a good one.
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of Martyrs. Martyrs is a film that I know I'm going to need to be in the right headspace for. And I've been kind of avoiding it. But yes, I will watch it someday.
Gotcha. Martyrs is, I enjoy Martyrs. Saint Maud is another kind of creepy religious film. I like religious horror films. I love that kind of stuff, like The Exorcist. There was The Cleansing Hour over on Shudder, which is a newer movie. I don't know if you've seen The Cleansing Hour. Put that on your list. It's about a priest who does live stream exorcisms. Majority of them are fake until one day he does. But one day there's a real possession. The devil in that is amazing.
Okay, that sounds really good.
Definitely put that on your list to check out. I think you might like it.
Thanks so much for all these recommendations, guys. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, no, we love horror movies. We've got some pretty big horror fans in here. We just love it. And I want to redo this one because it kind of got messed up there. I just wanted to say to Han, we love horror newbies. We do not frown upon you. If you are new to the horror genre, we love you. And the reason why is because when you start watching the films that we grew up loving, we love to hear your input on that. You don't have to be afraid here if you don't understand it or you're just new to it and you haven't seen many horror movies. We don't mind that. If you want to learn about it, that's why you're here, right? And you're supporting a friend of yours that's in the horror genre. So that's friggin' amazing. Good on you.
I gotta say, Han is seriously, I really hope that he sticks around because he's just one of the nicest guys in the world. And he's been around, he's been hanging out with me since I started live streaming Dead by Daylight, which I don't do anymore, but I did that for years. And so, I mean, he definitely knows a little bit more about horror than he lets on. But yeah, I'm really glad that he's here.
Awesome. We have a couple of questions that I just want to make sure I didn't double ask you. Okay, so we did serials. Okay. Mike777 says, what are your thoughts on horror claymations? They're creepy.
Well, I do know that I could not be more excited about the Mad God. So, I mean, I would say, like, I guess I'm in favor of them. I mean, what was the name of that group of brothers that did those really beautiful horror claymation shorts? The Brothers Quay.
Yes.
The Brothers Quay. Really loved that as well. But man, when I saw the trailer for the Mad God, I thought I was going to cry, like just from how moving and exciting it looks. So yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of it. I haven't seen a lot of like claymation horror stuff apart from what I just mentioned, but I like it a lot.
Right. I think it's creepy. Some of the horror claymation, I think it's kind of creepy, like dolls. And I have my little horror doll here that freaks my friend Joy Toy out because Joy Toy's in here. She hates this doll that's next to me. And she wants to burn it with fire. And doll horror movies are creepy, and I've got a lot of them. I got a lot of Living Dead dolls. So Puppet Master.
They're so great though.
They are, right? I always find like claymations and tiny little things kind of creepy.
Well, and that makes sense though to me because you resemble a Living Dead doll. You get like the makeup and the hair and the look down in a way that I just absolutely love. So I think it's appropriate that you have a collection of Living Dead dolls.
They were awesome. I got to meet Ed and Damien, the creators of them, way back in the day. Like I think it was 2004. I was in New Jersey at a ChillerCon, and that is where I met them. I got them to sign my German exclusive Walpurgis and the Gothic. They did a Living Dead doll version of that, the Gothic farm family, the guy with the pitchfork and his wife. They did a Living Dead doll version of that one. Yes, I love it. Love Living Dead dolls. I'm trying to find some more of your dancing because I hit the back button and it brought me all the way to the front part of the top part of your TikTok,
I'm so sorry.
which
It's not worth it.
it is definitely worth it. We've got to have some of these just playing in the background. What is this one? Oh, dances from horror movies, number 6. Let's get this one. Oh, we got to get this one. We're gonna wait for TikTok again, and while we wait for TikTok, Faceless wants to know, Molly, have you ever watched or heard of trauma films? P.S. You're gorgeous.
Aw, that's incredibly sweet of you. Thank you. Hell yeah, I've heard of Trauma. I started watching Trauma. I think the first one I saw was Trauma's War when I was a freshman in high school. My friend group in high school, we were all big Trauma fans. They kind of turned me on to it. Terror Firmer. Excuse me, the Toxic Avenger series, Cannibal the Musical, which is to this day my favorite horror musical. I've always considered Lloyd Kaufman to be the creepy uncle I never knew I wanted, but yeah, I'm big fan of Trauma.
Trauma is awesome. Wait, my face filter is on again. Hello, Lord, how are you? I know they have a face filter in my channel points that make me into like this Ursula from The Little Mermaid. They love doing those things, and I know sometimes it interrupts the whole interview. But it's fun.
It's making my day.
They're fun. It's fun. It's called Snapcam. So if you're ever interested, if you ever do anything, oh, there we go. Troll 2 dance, guys. Troll 2.
Yeah, really quickly, I just noticed something that Serial Killer said. I hope they don't fuck up Toxic Avenger as well.
Me too.
I have high hopes for it just because the cast is kind of blowing my mind. But
well, Uncle Lloyd Kaufman is involved, and Uncle Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz are the founders of Trauma Industries back in the 70s, and Uncle Lloyd Kaufman is still a part of it. Michael Hart is not, and from my understanding, Hertz is not too much involved with it anymore. But I know that when they're recreating the Toxic Avenger, they did ask Uncle Lloyd to be on set. Now, will they keep what practical effects that make Trauma? Because Trauma is uncensored and full-on practical effect. This is something they need to stay consistent with because none of their films have CGI in them. Right? I'm a huge Trauma fan. A huge.
No, and I think that's so important. You know, I whenever I get into sort of like remake conversations with people, the one that I always cite as being the one that I have sort of the biggest problem with is My Bloody Valentine from 2009, which I know a lot of people really love that
My
film.
God, I agree with you.
Yeah. But like My Bloody Valentine 2000, My Bloody Valentine, the original My Bloody Valentine, one of my all-time favorite slasher films. And one of the things that made it so spectacular were those practical effects, especially, you know, once they were finally released, which I think didn't even happen until the remake came out. But still, you know, it's such a beautiful feat of engineering when it comes to SFX, and to just muddle that with like just an insane amount of CG was insulting, I think, to the subgenre, you know. And so yeah, I really hope that they stay true to that in Trauma as well, in the new Toxic Avenger as well.
Yeah.
I'm stumbling over my words because it's weird looking at myself.
Yeah, I know, right? It is kind of weird. Devil Dog, I'm going to get you the link tree because I failed again at it. I'm going to actually put it in the command that I created for Molly here. So let me just 1 second as I do that. I should have put the link tree in the first place, but I did not. And this link tree will have everything in it. I'm just going to put this here like this and like this. And then if you do exclamation point guest right now, her link tree will be in there. Her TikTok is at finalgirlfriday. So in there should be everything for her, where you can find her, merch, the whole kit and caboodle. Exclamation point guest. Anybody can do that command. Oh, I know it's probably weird seeing you on your TikToks as well.
No, it's just weird seeing myself, wrapped up in a blanket like a burrito. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. We have a question from Evil Ash Campbell. Here's a question: full-on horror or campy B horror flicks?
Oh yeah, no, campy B horror. All the way, 100%. That's my jam. So yeah.
Completely agree with you. I love campy horror films. I love C, B grade films. They are my favorite genre. Frank Henenlotter, Basket Case, Frankenhooker, the Brain
Frankenhooker,
Damage.
Yeah.
Those are mine. Bad Taste, The Dead Alive. Like, those is where I live. I live in the CB horror genre. That is where I'm cozy at. That's where you can find me all buried underneath there.
Yeah,
They're the best.
and this is why I fell in love with your content. This is why when I found you on TikTok, I just latched onto you like a fucking starfish. I was like, you are never getting away from me because I cannot believe you are into these movies. You know, I really don't mean to bring it back around to the gendered thing.
No, go
I've known
for it.
such spectacular like female horror fans in my life, but I just don't meet female fans of the kinds of horror movies that I love out in the wild or just organically in life. So I was just like, man, oh, this girl's got great taste. I have to know her.
And that's exactly what I thought about you when I seen that first dance. When I seen your ReAnimateHer, I was like, this is after my own heart. This is by far my favorite dance that you do from What We Do in the Shadows is my feel-good movie and TV show. The fact that you fucking did this, I was blown away. This is one of my favorites.
I'm so glad you liked it. I had a lot of fun doing it. I wanted to do it in front of a fireplace. I went to this house. So this house it actually belongs to a friend of mine, Ghost Villa 666.
Oh, nice.
And he lives in this big, gorgeous house. He has an apartment on the top floor, and he has a big fireplace. And we were going to do this dance in front of the fireplace, and the power went out in the building as soon as I showed up. And I was like, are you kidding? Because it was just pitch black in his place. So we were like, well, let's just do it in the hallway. And it's such an old house, you can see the camera shaking when I start doing like the Johnny Bro like jumping, because he was like trying to just stay stable because the house was so old and kind of fragile. But it was really fun to do.
This is my favorite feel-good movie. Anytime I'm feeling down, this is the one that I go to, and that dance always makes me laugh my ass off. Like,
it's such a good comfort.
It definitely is. And Evil Ash Campbell, thank you so very much for sacrificing your soul to the Horde. I'm going to interrupt the interview just for a moment to write your name on my lovely sub coffin here. No need to thank me. If anyone, thank Blue Motherfucker for sending me to you. I was hooked on this stream after the first time popping in. I greatly appreciate that. I greatly appreciate it. The horror genre here on Twitch is a very small niche. And the fact that you guys come in here and hang out with me and want to speak horror and support me blows me away. Thank you. So we're going to get your name on here. And I'm going to ask you a question from Serial Killer. Have you seen Monkey Shines?
Hell yeah, absolutely. I have seen Monkey Shines. I haven't seen it in a long time. The cover art has haunted me my entire life. The cover art for that movie really creeped me out as a kid. But yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah. And I honestly think cover art, back in the day when you grew up with VHS, cover art played a huge role in you picking the movie.
Oh, it really did. That was a huge part of it. That was, I mean, my friend Lauren and I used to go to All Star Video, which is this little family-owned video store in my hometown. And we would, every Friday night, we would go and we would drop like $5 on $5 rentals for the weekend. Yay!
What's this trying to say his name?
There were, most of the time, the movies we picked out, we only picked them based solely on their cover art or their title. Yeah. You know, and we saw some really great horror movies that way, for sure.
Well, yeah, and I think the cover art was what really brought you in on some of those films, which is really awesome. Lord, thank you for loving Molly. I appreciate that. I love your guts as well. He's definitely evil. I agree that the whole VHS thing back in the day, and I feel bad for this newer generation that misses out on the VHS and going into the mom and pop shops. You know how back in the day, mom and pop, you walk in, they'd have the horror section, and then they'd have the blocked off section with either the beads or a sheet over it. You know what I mean? And the smell of a mom and pop VHS shop. I miss that. And I feel bad for the newer generation of horror fans because they don't get that. Everything is digital now, and you go in, there's no places to rent movies. Well, not where I live anymore. You can't go in and rent a movie. And they missed out on that fabulous cover art that they had and posters. Walking in and seeing the posters of some of these awesome films like The Blob hanging up on the walls, they miss out on that.
No, they really do. It was an event, you know, renting movies, discovering movies. It was almost like scavenger hunting. It was an experience. And I worry about that as well. I'm sad for the new generation. Same thing with drive-in theaters and just
Oh, right.
the movie theater experience. It's just not what it was before. And it breaks my heart that younger generations of film fans in general, like horror or otherwise, they're not gonna quite have that. And it breaks my heart.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. Did you get the chance to watch Evil Dead 1 and 2 live with Bruce? No, Evil, I did not. I missed out on that. Molly, did you get a chance to watch the Evil Dead 1 and 2 live with Bruce Campbell?
No, I did not, and I'm very sad about that. No,
Yeah.
I didn't get to. No, I would love that though.
There was there is a documentary, it's a Deadite documentary, so hard to find here in Canada. It's one that I really want to find. It was just recently put out on Blu-ray, but I can't seem to find it here.
Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, I'm aware of that documentary, and I have not seen it yet. I don't know if it's elusive here as well, but God, I hope we both find copies of it.
If I find, I will definitely let you know about it. They were playing it on the festival circuit, and I know a lot of the times we don't get to see festival circuit films or documentaries until much later. So if I do find it, I will let you know. We also have a question from Mike 777. Fun question: if you would have married a horror writer, who would it be?
Ooh, that's actually a really easy one. It's not a question I've ever been asked, though. That's an awesome question. It's easy for me. Thomas Ligotti. I think he's also, I'm agoraphobic. He's also agoraphobic. So we would never have to like apologize to each other for like not being able to go, you know, to travel and see the world. It would be like a nice little, you know, hermit life. He's also one of my favorite horror authors. I love the way that he looks at the world and his, you know, sort of just the way that he sort of interprets and processes fear. And I don't know. I feel like it would be a good life of coffee, cuddling on the couch, and talking about things that scare the shit out of us. That would be perfect.
Yeah, that's a perfect time.
What about you? I just want to ask you the same questions that people are asking me. Is that okay?
Yeah, that is, no, I would have to think on that one. Oh my Lord, I don't think see, I'm a huge Dr. Herbert West, and I know H.P. Lovecraft is not well liked because of his history. If you're an H.P. Lovecraft fan, you definitely know his history. It's going to be a toss-up between Clive Barker and H.P. Lovecraft because I friggin' love them both. And Mary Shelley.
Well, you know, and one thing that we do know for sure about Lovecraft is that at least for a brief period of time, he was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Malleable, because, you know, I mean, he fell in love with a woman who didn't share his political views or his, you know, social views, and his love for her really did kind of turn him around and turned him into less of an asshole, you know. So I mean, if you married him, maybe you could wrench him away from all of that garbage and turn him into a better person. Not that should be your job, but like, no,
but I do get what you, definitely get what you're saying. And yes, he had a very interesting life, and yes, and the woman that he did fall in love with and marry. Rod's not much of a reader. No, I'm not, Joy Toy, because it makes me so sleepy. I get insomnia, and the best way to put me to sleep and get my eyes sleepy is reading. So I read a lot at night when I can't sleep. So I try not to read during the day because it'll just put me out.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I did notice, by the way, that a lot of people were saying things about my Rod Serling poster. I'm pointing the wrong way. But I guess technically, if I could have married anyone from history that was a horror writer, it would have been Rod Serling, hands down. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to steal him from his own family, but I would have totally stolen him from his own family.
Yeah,
so I guess that would be another
awesome one.
Yeah.
There's so many. It's so hard to pick. It's like saying, who's your favorite horror director from the Masters of Horror? You have so many. It's so hard to pick because they each bring something different to the table. When they create their movies, they write their movies, and they bring it to the table. They each have something awesome to offer. Really hard.
No, that's so true. That's very. It is. It's really hard to pick and choose favorites of almost anything for me. Like, you can ask me what my favorite slasher film is today. The answer will be different than the answer will be tomorrow. It just sort of depends on the mood, you know. I mean, ReAnimateHer is the only constant in my life. It's the one horror film that has always been my answer to what's your favorite horror movie of all time. That's never changed. But everything else, it's very fluid.
So Serial Killer wants to know, have you done a Christopher Walken dance in Sleepy Hollow?
Ooh, no, I forgot there was a Christopher Walken dance in Sleepy Hollow. Oh, I need a pen.
Now you gotta write that down.
Yeah. I don't even know I don't know where my pens are. This is going to be saved somewhere, right? Like on YouTube.
Yes, and I will actually put the VOD up on my YouTube channel, so it'll be there as well. I'll put a shorter version up on TikTok because you can only do like 3-minute things over there. Yes. And if you want, I can write this down for you right now. I have it here. Did Christopher Walken dance by a serial killer. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to pop it right into the chat between us.
No, thank you so much for that. I am always looking for dance scenes. Like I've done 8 dances on TikTok. I think I've reenacted 8 horror dances, and there are a few that I know I want to do. Like I guess I can talk about it because why wouldn't I be able to? Like I want to do Sam's dance from House of the Devil. I really want to do that one, and I want to do Angela's dance from Night of the Demons. I can't remember her name right now. Yeah, I want to do hers and things like that. But like those, in order to reenact those, and the Driller Killer's dance from Slumber Party Massacre 2, which I tried doing a couple weeks ago, and I am way too out of shape for that. He was a champion. But so like those I know I want to do, but they're going to take a little bit more in terms of the production. Like I have a vision for the House of the Devil dance, and I can't just like pop a camera on and do it. I need somebody to film it for me, and it needs to be kind of planned out. So any time that anyone has any suggestions for horror dances, I'm always like, yes, please, because I'm sure there are some that I'm forgetting, you know, like there's so many.
There's so many, though. There's so many to do. Yeah. And don't you wish there was a website that you could just go to and then all of the dances are right there?
Right. I do. Believe me, I've looked for it. I'm sad that it doesn't exist.
No.
We need a master list, you know?
Yeah. Yes. Well, you are creating one right here on your TikTok if TikTok ever wants to play. Oh my Lord. Mama Ducky, have you ever done the infamous Let's Buzz dance from Slumber Party Massacre 2?
So that one I have been working on. There is a video on my TikTok of me, the footage of me filming it with Ghostbilla, trying to do it unsuccessfully, wearing myself out. I do that dance a lot just in my everyday life, bits and pieces of it, but trying to recreate it exactly took so much out of me. You know, I'm older and I'm really out of shape. And I just was like, okay, I have to exercise before I can do this one. So it is on my list. It was going to be the next one I did. And I couldn't. It's when he drops to the floor and does like the push-ups and then like spins himself around. I can't do push-ups.
Some of those dances take a lot of energy to do. There, it finally played. Thank you, TikTok. Tell me which dance this is, guys. Yeah, this is a good one too. Now,
thank you so much.
Lord Lupus Ator wants to know, Molly, did you ever enjoy the Dark Shadows series or Tales from the Dark Side?
I love Tales from the Dark Side, absolutely. I, for whatever reason, have never seen anything related to Dark Shadows. Like, I mean, I've never seen the Dark Shadows TV show from, the old one. I've never seen the movie or whatever that came out with Johnny Depp. I'm totally in the dark about Dark Shadows, but I did love Tales from the Dark Side.
Yes, the Dark Shadows series is definitely a much older series, and it was actually taken off of TV networks. So for a generation that was, I want to say from the 90s, as I believe Dark Shadows was already off the air by the 90s. You know what, let me double check where Dark Shadows TV show, because there is a movie called Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp. But Dark Shadows TV, you can find it on Tubi.tv if you're ever interested. It's also on Shudder here in Canada. And yeah, the show only ran from 1966 to 1971. So there was then a Dark Shadows TV show in the 1990s, 1991, and it only went till... Yeah, the original went to 66 to 77, and the other one was just in 91.
Oh, I didn't even know that I didn't know that they brought it back in the 90s.
Yes, they did the same thing with the Addams Family and the Munsters. They remade them. They didn't do very well later on either. They didn't do really well back in the day. One of the reasons why they were taken off of the air is because the Munsters and the Addams Family original TV show didn't do well, and they tried to redo it again.
Yeah.
And now Rob Zombie is... what is your take on Rob Zombie doing the Munsters?
Oh, that's a question.
That is a question.
It was perfect timing because I found out about Rob Zombie doing the Munsters around the same time that I found out about Tim Burton doing Wednesday Addams, Wednesday.
Yes.
So I am so scared and worried about Tim Burton doing Wednesday that I don't have the energy to be worried about Rob Zombie doing the Munsters. And seeing all of his tweets and things about it, knowing how passionate he is about it, I have concerns because for me, the Munsters is a wholesome part of my childhood. I don't really want to see it trashed up. I don't need to see trashy Munsters. I want them to be a little bit more wholesome. I don't want Lily Munster dropping F-bombs, which I realize is ironic because I cuss like a fucking sailor. But I don't want that from my Lily Munster, that kind of thing. So
Right.
I'm concerned. But knowing how in love he is with this material, I have to hope that it's going to be good. And like I said, I'm too concerned about Tim Burton, what he's going to be doing to the Addams Family. And I was more of an Addams Family fan growing up than the Munsters, so I'm not as upset about the Munsters as I would have been if Tim Burton wasn't also doing Wednesday, if that makes sense.
No, that does make sense. My biggest gripe with Zombie and his films is the fact, and this is going to sound horrible, but his wife is lead role in every film. The problem is that she's good in a certain role. She is. She's amazing in Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. She plays a great psychotic female. My issue is she's not a Lily Munster. And there are so many other women in the genre that even if you want to stay in the horror genre, that would be amazing in the Lily Munster role.
Well, yeah, and it's such an iconic role. My question is, did he even audition for it? Did he even give any other women an opportunity to, even showcase what they could possibly bring to that character? That's my only, my only issue with him constantly casting her. I mean, it's a luxury, sure, if cast her and everything, just like Tim Burton cast, he used to cast Helena Bonham Carter and everything.
Romero does the same thing. Well, did the same thing.
I don't hate on that. We all have our families. I can't hate on that because Stuart Gordon put Jeffrey Combs in all of his movies, and I'm so grateful to him for that. But this is a character that I think a lot of women deserve a shot at. And it bothers me to think that no one got one because he just immediately put her in that role.
Exactly. That's my biggest issue. And I mean, I love the fact that he puts his wife in his film. But again, not every lead role needs to be for her. Put her in a secondary role. And I know that it's the only reason why she's getting into acting is that her husband's the only person who will cast her. Her acting is good. I like her as a person. I think she is a great person. I love Zombie as a person as well. I just think that there are better actresses out there for the certain roles that he does cast for. And yeah, again, Romero, many of the good writers and directors cast their friends and family, but they also have casted the right people for the role, right? They didn't just do it because this one's my brother or this one's my mother. And I mean, Uncle Lloyd did the same thing with mom and dad in Father's Day and Mother's Day, right? But they were the good people for that role. That's one of my gripes about Zombie.
No, I agree, and I love him as a person. He is, I mean, such an advocate for our genre. He's a famous horror fan, and so he's spreading the love of horror everywhere he goes. I admire and respect him for that. He made the single greatest commercial I've ever seen in my life, which was the Woolite commercial he did for Halloween like 15 years ago. It was amazing, and I love his music. I have a lot of respect for him, but yeah, as a filmmaker, he makes some decisions that I find questionable, and I know that it's really popular to complain about him casting his wife in every role. But I think there's a reason why it's a common complaint, because I think it's a bit of an injustice, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree, Mr. Malice. I hope you're doing well, buddy. I do agree. I like seeing the artistic twist. I don't, like I said, I don't hate zombies films. I don't. I find that he did get lazy in a couple of them, 31. But I really enjoyed Salem. I love his Devil's Rejects. I'm excited to see what he does with the Munsters, but again, I'm not impressed with the fact that he would cast his wife as Lily Munster, because there are other people for that role. I am excited what he brings creatively to the table. I get excited about that in a lot of his films. I was excited about it in Halloween when he redid 1 and 2. I like seeing people's creative sides and what they think, because they're fans of the film, just like independent made films like Jason Rising by Red Crow Films and Womp Stomp Films. They do independent films. They're fans of the Friday the 13th franchise. I love seeing them bring their fandom out in their films. And if you haven't seen Jason Rising, you need to. It's free on YouTube. It's an independent film.
Have you heard about 13 Fanboy, by the way?
Yes, I did. I've backed that one as well.
Did you? I just fucking found out about it, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know, because the trailer came out over a year ago, and I just discovered this film. I can't remember. I think it was John Squires did a write-up on Bloody Disgusting about it, just like around Friday the 13th. And I had never heard of it. I thought he was playing a joke on us. I didn't think it was real. It's another, like, you know, fan Friday film that I'm really looking forward to.
I did a TikTok to put it out there because it's releasing in October 21st. And it's got some of the iconic horror celebrities. You've got Dee Wallace, Kane Hodder, Deborah Voorhees. So I love the take, and it's almost like the new Nightmare. You know, this is a person who is a horror fan and loves the Friday the 13th franchise, that he loves it so much that he's stalking the original cast, which Adrian King went through in part 1 and part 2 of Friday the 13th. So it's going to hit home for some people. And I think it's going to be an amazing film, especially the people that are behind it.
No, absolutely.
Oh, Kathy Bates would be a great actress in zombie films. I love Kathy Bates. Like, she's so diverse, but I love her in her horror roles.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, she's still, you know, my favorite season of American Horror Story, which is a weirdly unpopular one that I don't understand why people can't stand it so much, was Roanoke. And a big part of that was Kathy Bates. Her performance in Roanoke was, in my opinion, one of the best on-screen performances I'd ever seen from her, which is saying something. And that character alone you could use as like an example of why she would be so well suited for that sort of the Rob Zombie, you know, kind of universe that he's creating. She would be so good in some of his films, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I love Kathy Bates. I liked Roanoke. I didn't find it as the worst one in the series. Kathy's character really brought out, I mean, she was one of the reasons why I enjoyed it so much. I thought it was a great lore on it, but I know a lot of people didn't like Roanoke.
Yeah, I don't know why though, man. I really don't. I thought it was their second best season. I thought it was the best one since Murder House. I thought it was just so good. It's my favorite season in the series. I would say Murder House, I would probably put it up there. I would put it above it in terms of quality simply because of the ground that it broke. But I thought Roanoke was fantastic. Yeah. Kathy Bates and Sid Haig. That would be interesting.
Sid, yeah. I like Sid. May he rest in peace. It was very sad news and when we heard news of him passing away.
Yeah, God, it was. It was very sad.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mr. Malice. Oh, yes. Now, I haven't finished Fear Street because I'm still watching it with my spawn. So me and my spawn just watched 1978. Our next one is 1666. What are your thoughts on the Fear Street series?
It's so funny that you brought that up because I just watched Fear Street 1994 before we talked today. That was what I did when I first woke up. I had not seen it. I've been waiting until I could really sit down and focus on it. And so I've only seen the first one. I fucking loved it. And I realized that they're pandering to me. I get that. They're capitalizing on my 90s nostalgia so hard, but they're doing it so artfully with such a respect for that time period. I was really surprised at how violent it was. I didn't expect, some of those great kills that we saw. And it was also a little bit more like a little sexier than I had anticipated too.
Right?
Like because it sort of feels like it's made for teenagers, but it's very mature take on this type of material. And I loved all of the performances were great. It surprised me. All in all, I just could not have been happier with the first Fear Street. So I'm really looking forward to seeing 78 and 1666. Did you like 78?
78 is gonna bring back that slasher from the 80s vibe. I'm enjoying Fear Street. I really like 94 and I like 78. My spawn really wanted to see more on Ruby Lane, which you've seen in 94. She really wants to see more. She wants to see a backstory on Ruby Lane, and Ruby Lane does come into 78, but not as much as in 94, where you see her quite often in 94.
Right. Okay.
I'm waiting for her to finish the series. My spawn is 17, and she's busier than me. She's my horror movie sidekick because I don't have anybody in here in my household that loves horror as much as I do besides my spawn. So she's my horror movie sidekick.
It's important to have one of those.
It really is. It really is. I don't have any real friends locally. I'm a very big introvert, and most people I don't like. I sound like an asshole, but I have a problem making friends because the majority of the time they turn out to be assholes. So I keep to myself, and I have my friend's a serial killer, but he lives an hour and 30 from me, so it's kind of hard to go and say, "Hey, want to go see a movie together?" So my spawn is my sidekick when it comes to that stuff. But I love streaming, and streaming allows me to be social and allows me to share my passion. And I think that's why I'm so good at trying to talk to people here. People will think that I'm an extrovert, and I'm not.
Oh no, same. People think I'm an extrovert too. I'm not.
Exactly.
I get that.
Regal, I forgot to do Regal's question, but Regal is. She says, I see a Twilight Zone poster behind you. Do you prefer the new or old show? And what episode was your favorite?
Oh, I love this question. Thank you, Regal. Yeah, no, definitely the old show. It's my favorite TV series of all time. Grew up on it. My mom was a fanatic, so she raised me on it. Rod Serling is... He's just I know it sounds really hokey, but he's like the closest thing. I keep pointing in the wrong direction. I know it sounds really hokey, but he's like the closest thing I have to he's like my patron saint, I guess you could say. And I love him. But yeah, so old show for sure. And my favorite episode, I have two favorite Twilight Zone episodes. The first is called The Obsolete Man with Burgess Meredith. Yes. I think that it is just, it's just fucking brilliant. I love it so much. And I know people like to talk about Time Enough at Last, which is a great Burgess Meredith episode. But I think The Obsolete Man is just a little bit better. And then the other one that I love is called The Midnight Sun, which is just sort of like an example of, I think, just some of the best type of storytelling. I just love that story from start to finish. It's bookended perfectly. It's just that the right amount of unsettling. It's also that post-apocalyptic or that pre-apocalyptic story rather, which I find really fascinating. So yeah, that would be mine.
Nice. I love The Mask and the Jeopardy Room.
Oh yeah.
I like the one with the pig nose too. Like
Eye of the Beholder.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
He has such. I really want to get. I have Tales of the Crypt, the entire episodes on DVD. I'm trying to find one on the Twilight Zone. Like have all of them, and I prefer the original Twilight Zone over the current one. Jordan Peele, when he created the Twilight Zone, I was interested in it, right? Now I like Jordan Peele's comedies. I'm not an overly huge fan of his horror. I mean, I like some of his films. So when he was bringing in the Twilight Zone, I was like, oh, let's see what he has to do with this, because he's a huge horror fan, right? I enjoyed them. I've watched the series, but to me, the original just, I don't know if it's the black and white or the actors of the time. I don't know. The originals just have something more for me, in my opinion, than the remake does.
No, I agree. Absolutely. I'm not really sure, what the difference is because, like, now, so Black Mirror, as an example, like, which I know, Black Mirror to me felt more along the lines of like a modern Twilight Zone in a way that really worked for me in the same way that Twilight Zone did. And I think maybe it's because it was sort of its own thing, and when you introduce like this is the new Twilight Zone, no matter how hard I try to divorce myself, it's never going to feel quite the same seeing anyone other than Rod Serling host.
And I agree.
And I think, that's a part of it. And then, I think you're right about the black and white. There's something so comforting about black and white films and black and white television. It's just instant soothing. I feel, like I've been transported back in time to a time that is simpler, a time that I can understand, but then I'm still being disturbed in the way that I like to be. So it's just an interesting kind of maybe dichotomy. I don't know. I like the original.
I definitely agree with you there. I think if Jordan Peele would have came out and maybe did not the Twilight Zone, but created his own, like in Black Mirror, they were their own separate entity. I think maybe it would have gone better. And I feel the same way with Child's Play. When they remade Child's Play, they changed the face of the doll. They changed the voice of Chucky. They even changed the storyline of Chucky. I think it would have received a better reception if it was named something completely other than Child's Play, because I'm a fan of the Child's Play franchise. And when I refused to watch it when it came out because Brad Dourif is Chucky. The story of voodoo bringing Brad Dourif into Charles, bringing him into the doll. That's the story. And
it's true. They could have just called it something else.
Good guy doll gone bad. Something. Because they changed the story. They changed the story, right? This is now a microchip that gets possessed instead of the whole voodoo and the summoning ritual that he did for his soul to go into the doll. They changed everything. So why didn't you change the name to keep it in the same universe like Spiral did with Saw, right? Like Candyman's doing currently. Keep it in the same universe, but not utilize the Child's Play name.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think that's what they should do, and that's why I kind of, again, I don't like to gatekeep, and I don't like to feel I'm just ragging on remakes, because sometimes they work out for the better. There have been a few remakes that I've absolutely loved, and they have successfully driven new audiences to the originals, and that's amazing. And there is cultural relevance to things that were scary to us in the 70s might not be the same things that are scary to us now. So it's important to kind of look at that and modernize those fears and those discussions.
Yes.
But I think you can do that without taking beloved characters and retconning them, for the sake of ticket sales. And I don't mean to get up on a soapbox about it. It's just, it pisses me off.
I completely agree with you. I'm not against remakes, but we've had so many remakes, and some of them have ruined it. You can never ruin the original. One of the best remakes that in my eyes is a number one is the Evil Dead remake. That was amazing. I also like the 13 Ghost remake from the original Vincent Price. I enjoyed House on Haunted Hill remake as well. I thought they were great remakes. And there's some that you're like, oh my God, what did they just fucking do?
Right? Like the Poltergeist remake. Did you see that?
No, I did not. I will not see it. The same thing with the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, where I still to this day have not seen it, and I refuse to watch it. There are some remakes that I've seen some trailer on, and right there, nope, I will not see it.
Well, yeah. The other thing with the Nightmare remake is that I remember that interview with Wes Craven. I think he was at a con doing a Q&A. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it was a Q&A at a con. And Wes Craven said, he said with his own mouth, the fact that they're doing this hurts my feeling.
Yep.
I don't want them to remake this. And I feel like if the original, I get that he shot himself in the foot by selling the rights to begin with. I get that this is just what happens. But if Wes Craven is telling you that your film is hurting his feelings, stop making it, for God's sake. Like, what are you doing?
Ding,
He
ding,
doesn't want you
ding.
to do it. You know, that broke my heart. And it wasn't good either. I mean, I saw it and I didn't care for it, but I don't blame you for not wanting to watch it. And I definitely
refuse.
recommend avoiding the Poltergeist remake.
And I seen that interview that you were talking about as well. I did like I said, Coffee Chat of Horrors is two things. One, we do interviews with awesome people like yourself, and then the other is I do autopsies on films. So it's me 2.5 hours digging into research and interviews about a movie, and I did Nightmare on Elm Street, and that is one of the interviews I watched. So when I do my CCOH, I dig into the film. I just don't go to IMDb and copy and paste the shit there. I look for interviews with cast, directors. I watch a lot of documentaries and director's cut to get my information that I give. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. And yeah, I seen exactly that, what you were saying with that interview. And it broke my heart to hear that. And I refused to see it.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. I mean, I think that if you're ever going to protest a remake on principle, that's the one to protest, you know,
I
for
agree.
that reason. Yeah.
And another Graveyard Ghost, it's so hard to take away comparing the original to the remake. I have an issue with that as well. I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan, like huge. And it was really tough for me to break away from that mindset of Friday for 1, 2, and 3 and seeing it in the 2009 remake with Derek Mears. I enjoyed it. It's not a bad one. But to compare things, it's really hard for me not to do that. It's trying to separate yourself from films that you fucking love so goddamn much and then trying to separate it, right? It's a hard thing to do. It really is hard.
Oh yeah, it was like the end of the new Castle Freak.
Yes.
You know, which it's like I didn't mind the new Castle Freak. I really didn't. I mean, I liked it more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was so great that they made the freak a woman. I loved the practical effects. And I loved how fucking balls out crazy it went in the end. I was so shocked by that.
Yes.
I was like, this is really great. But as soon as I saw the back of quote Herbert West's head, knowing that wasn't Jeffrey Combs in a cinematic interpretation of the character, I wanted to draw blood. I was so angry, and I'm like, that's not fair, you know, like let a newer generation have this character. It's okay, Molly, calm down. But I was really upset.
I had the same reaction as you. I really enjoyed the Castle Freak. I love that they brought more gore to the Castle Freak remake. I love the fact that was female part of it, the lead. I enjoyed what they brought to it, and yes, I agree with you on everything on that matter.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to. And you know, I was actually just talking about one of my friends on TikTok, Deuce. We were talking about this, about why that is, especially for people our age. You know, our ages. Because again, going back to what we were talking about the video rental experience, the movie theater experience, it was an event when you saw a movie when we were kids. And so these characters, there wasn't a sense of impermanence to them. You know, they were presented to us in a single way, and that was the way that we knew them for years. The internet wasn't a thing. This whole sort of, what do you call it, disposable media didn't really exist. And this newer generation of fans, you know, and of film goers, they consume media in a very different way. And so the idea of something like remaking and reinterpreting a film isn't nearly as offensive to them, and they digest it more easily than us. So I mean, I think it's really fascinating to look at, like, why we get so up in arms about remakes. I mean, as somebody who does, but I think it's got a lot to do with it. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. You know, I'm always on the fence with remakes, and you know, I always want to try to give them that benefit. But we've seen so many remakes happen in the last couple of years, like so many. I'm getting tired of remakes. I really am. There's so many great horror novels out there. Even if you go back to H.P. Lovecraft. He has some true on great novels that have not been turned into movies. A lot of people loosely base their movies off of his work, but there isn't really many full-on not Dr. Herbert West, but H.P. Lovecraft films. There's numerous horror writers out there that have so much. There's more than just Stephen King out there and Anne Rice, right? That I feel that they could bring to to the TV screen or the movie. But they don't, and I don't quite understand. I know Hollywood is in it. A lot of it is in it for the money, and that's why they do a lot of the remakes from the 80s and the 90s, because they're going after our pocket, right? But I would really love to see some other books brought to the television screen. I don't know. I really like those. I really like some of these horror novels that I think that I'm done with remakes. I am. Give me something new. I want to sink my teeth and claws into something new that maybe be even creepier or scary.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the new Evil Dead film, why I am on board with the new Candyman, because you can tell these stories without remaking them. It's such a freaking simple concept, because I'm experiencing remake fatigue all the time. I completely feel you there. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't want to hate on it, but I'm just tired of seeing them. I'm exhausted because the last few years, how many remakes have dropped? Not even just in the horror genre alone. There's been numerous witches, and there's been tons of remakes the last few years, not just in the horror genre, but in movies in general. And it's like it's getting so tiresome. You're exhausting us. We want something new.
Yeah, just something new would be nice for sure.
Oh yeah. You like T-Pain said, do something else. I agree, Cannibal. I hope you're doing well. I agree. That's an awesome job. Your favorite was working at a small rental spot. You loved it so much. I take a new movie home every night, whether it was one that just looked cool or one that a coworker geeked out upon during our shift. That's an awesome memory to have.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I really, I love most of my favorite movie watching memories. Almost all of them revolve around going and renting films, from the video store, coming home with a big stack of movies I've never seen, but they had brutal fucking covers, watching the end of Sleepaway Camp, having no idea what I was getting myself into, that kind of thing.
Oh my God, that blew me away. When I first seen Sleepaway Camp, that blew me away, because that was like one of the first times, besides Rocky Horror Picture Show, it was one of the first times that was actually brought into my life as a younger person. It wasn't a normal thing that we would see. Rocky Horror Picture Show, I love Rocky Horror. And watching Sleepaway Camp and seeing the end, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, what the fuck are you doing? Go and see Sleepaway Camp. But yeah, blows my mind. And I agree, Mr. Malice, 110%. I would love to see movies where the witches were not villains or the Satanists were not villains. I completely agree.
That is something, I don't want to go off on a big thing. That is something that bothers me. And I've talked about this a lot on my podcast and just in general, like with films like Anything for Jackson, House of the Devil. I love these movies. I love them. And I appreciate, especially with something like House of the Devil, where they're paying homage to many things at once, including the Satanic Panic, which is a very relevant part of our history.
It is.
And I get it. But just one time, I want to see a horror movie that features Satanists just being normal people.
Yep.
Not being the bad guys. Just one time, I would like us to actually represent Satanism, like the average everyday Satanist, in an accurate way.
Exactly. Witches and Satanists always have a bad rep. And I blame the movies from the 60s and 70s, because the 70s made it really big about witches. There's a lot of films that brought in Satanism, all sorts of stuff. And in the pagan religion, they do not believe in a devil. Like, you don't believe that there's a guy downstairs with a motherfucking pitchfork about to stab you in the ass because you created a sin. You did a sin. That's something that's not a part of us. That's, maybe some might believe it, but we don't believe in the Christian deity. Like, we don't believe in that there's a guy down below. And every movie that has any type of witchcraft in it, whether it's a pagan or a Wiccan or just witchcraft in general, they always bring a satanic side to it. And I know for a fact, Satanists, there's different forms of Satanists. I know for a fact they don't sit there and do blood sacrifices to the devil,
No.
and that aggravates me, because it represents an entire culture of people, entire religion of people as typecasted as one thing, and it gets aggravating because over and over you always see the Satanist or the witch. It's always the bad guy,
Yeah.
and witches don't, not all of them practice satanic stuff, and Satanists don't practice the way you think they do.
Well, no, and it's infuriating. And I mean, yeah, you're right. Like witches are often depicted, they're lumped into the same category as cinematic Satanists, you know, as theistic Satanists, because that's like all the Satanists in all the horror movies in all the world are theistic Satanists, which I think make up less than like 15%, you know, of the Satanists population in the fucking world. Maybe less than 15% of them are theistic. It's basically at its absolute simplest definition, adversarial atheism. You know what I mean? And so like to see just group after group after group of Satanists worshiping the devil and summoning demons, I loved Anything for Jackson. I loved it. It was a fantastic film.
Too.
But anytime I see it, it pisses me off. You know, it's just like, can we just, same thing with goth representation. Goth kids are always represented as being, you know, only goth because they are emotionally or mentally disturbed in a way that needs to be cured. You know, sorry, now I'm rambling.
No,
like,
you go for it. Go for it. My spawn, who's 17, is goth. Mm-hmm. She's a very artistic child, and she brings her artistic to her face and makeup, right? And you know, she'll do these sad faces, like a way her makeup does, it makes her look sad, or she'll do these fun faces where it makes her look happy. And there's people who are like, oh, she's always sad, she must not have a good life, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. And I really hate the whole stereotype that, oh yeah, goth people, emo, that's all it is. You know, it is disgusting. And Mr. Malice is 35 and 100% goth.
Nice. Yeah, I'm 38. I'm a veteran goth, and I've gotten lazy. I'm too lazy to be properly goth anymore.
But there's gatekeeping in goth. You don't have to wear all black and black fucking makeup to the nines if you're goth.
Yeah.
There's numerous versions of goth, and I'm sorry, not every day you can wear the thick black eyeliner and the crazy shit to go to work in, right?
No, it's so true. Like I work in a cafe, for fuck's sake. Like I have to wear comfortable shoes, clothes that I don't mind getting coffee all over, you know, and like I just don't have the patience. But like every once in a while I still like to get all dolled up the way that I did 20 years ago. And you know, but it's in your heart. And that's the thing that's so offensive about the concept that like if you're a goth character in a movie, you just need help, and you'll get over it. They treat it like it's a phase. I'm 38. I've been goth my whole fucking life. I've never grown out of it. I just stopped caring about the wardrobe because I'm lazy and I work in food service. So.
Well, exactly. And you know what? There's not every day that I want to throw on, you know, giant wings and black eyeliner on all the time and have all this you know,
time for that, you know.
I'm a busy bitch over here too. It's like it takes hours to do that makeup, and then when you fuck up something, right? Because I do like my dark black makeup, but there's days that I just don't want to do that. And I don't like the gatekeeping. I don't like the gatekeeping in horror. I don't like gatekeeping at all. And I agree, the whole gatekeeping for goth is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I feel exactly the same way you do. I'm not a fan of the gatekeeping. And we were talking about this, I know, before we actually started the live, but like,
yep.
I don't want us people, especially fans of things, especially fans of horror, to ever feel like they're in competition with each other. I can't stand when people get into those like really heated debates about like who did what film better, who was right, who was wrong. I love a good debate. But if it gets to the point where like, oh, well, you're not a fan of this movie, I can't be around you anymore. You know, oh, we disagree about this. Well, you clearly have terrible taste or whatever.
Yeah.
I get so sick of that shit. You know, it's like, dude, we all love to be scared. Why does it matter how? You know?
Yep. And you know, we should be able to have difference of opinions and different views and still be friends. That's the problem that I find in today's society, that your view may be different than mine on numerous things, but we are adults. We should be able to like have conversations, and I'm not going to storm away and be like, well, oh my God, you didn't like this movie.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is wrong? I agree.
I totally get that. I've been, I'm going to talk for a second about my boyfriend, and I
Go
apologize
for it.
because I know that sounds really silly, but like we've been a year, we have been arguing about whether or not The Innkeepers is a good film. He loves it. I fucking hate it. We have been fighting about it for so long. and we've watched it together. I've watched it without him. Like I've been trying to like come around because he has exquisite taste in films. And I mean, I have such respect for his taste. But The Innkeepers is an area where we staunchly disagree. And you know what? It is the most fun thing in the world arguing about it with them, and just realizing that like we can be fans of the same thing who also hate and love different things sometimes too. And I see it so often where people are like, oh, I would never want to be friends with somebody who hates the zombie Halloweens, or I could never be friends with someone who loves them. And I think that's ridiculous.
I think it's completely ridiculous. It's fun to have competition between each other, fun competition. So, for example, my buddy, a serial killer, he is a Michael Myers Halloween diehard. I'm a Friday the 13th Jason fan. We go at it, but it's fun. It's not like I fucking hate you because you don't like it. And Cannibal, to answer your question, I cannot stand, and I get this all the time. I'm a huge horror fan and I'm a woman. I get talked down to or tested my horror movie knowledge because I got a vagina. And
all the time tested. You're tested constantly.
Oh, it's one of the things that aggravate me because I'm a huge fan. I live and breathe it. It is a lifestyle for me. It is not just a genre for a movie. And it's aggravating because when people say, one, you don't look like a horror fan, what the fuck am I supposed to look like?
What does that even mean?
I'm sorry. What am I supposed to look like? Am I supposed to have like wild, crazy fucking makeup and wear blood all the time? Is that what a horror person looks to you? And I think it's quite big bullshit for someone to say that if you don't watch extreme horror movies, you're not a horror fan. This is, I'll tell you right now, if you enjoyed a horror movie, you're a horror fan. I don't care if it was friggin' Ghostbusters that you enjoy. You're a horror fan. You like a horror movie? I don't care if it's whatever it may be. If you enjoyed it, you're the fan of a genre. You don't have to have a collection like mine or hit knowledge of mine to be a fan. It's very aggravating to one, as a woman, be tested on my knowledge. Aren't you just good enough with that I'm a horror fan? And if you can't fucking tell by my background that I enjoy the genre, but I get it all the time. No. And I'm sure you do as a woman in especially in the podcasting field.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's one of those things where like one thing that I love about the horror genre and the horror family, and why I always call it a family, is because I have found acceptance as a woman more among the horror fam than I ever had like when I was doing the live stream gaming and stuff like that. Gaming is the fucking worst. I mean, it really is. I had to prove myself every day to people, you know. But here it's a little bit less in the horror family. But it'll still happen, you know, where sometimes it's like real soft core testing, where they don't even think that you realize they're doing it, you know. Right. But it's like you're in conversation with someone and you're having to like show your clout. And I know that we do that in general. Like all horror fans, when they meet you, they'll say, "Let me see your collection. What do you have?" And I don't have much. I don't have a big collection because I'm poor. You know, so like I have a huge collection of horror t-shirts. That's it. And, you know, but there's a difference when you're a woman. You do get a lot of those sort of challenging questions where they're kind of feeling you out to see like, okay, well, so yeah, you like horror, but I'm sure that you've never seen, well, like some of the movies you were mentioning, like Brain Damage, you know, or wait, you've seen Cannibal Ferox? Wait, are you sure? Don't you have a vagina? Isn't it illegal for women to watch Cannibal Ferox? Like that kind of shit, you know?
Oh my Lord. It's so aggravating. And I don't base someone's horror fandom on their knowledge or their collection. This collection of mine has taken me over 20 years to create. And this is collecting things, seeing it in the store, buying it, going to horror cons. This doesn't happen overnight. And I got a really big collection, but that's my passion. That's my thing. We all have a hobby and a thing that we like to do. And this just happens to be mine. I don't ever judge somebody on their collection or their horror knowledge or the movies that they love. I might be like, oh my God, you haven't seen this movie? Why not? Right? But that's just me being like, oh my God, this movie is so fucking amazing. How did you not see it?
Right.
It's just sad that as a woman, and I hate bringing up the whole gender thing, but it happens to us so often in everything, though, in everything. And it sucks and it aggravates me that it gets brought up so often.
No, and I agree. And I mean, totally. I also don't mean, you know, to keep us on like a thing about the gender
that
thing,
doesn't aggravate me at all. It's just the whole testing of and comparing me to what I'm supposed to look like. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to look like?
Yeah, it doesn't make, well, and that, I think there are a lot of associations outside of the horror family with like what a horror fan is supposed to be or look like. And I get that a lot, honestly, as a woman who, first of all, wears a mask most of the time when she talks. I dress down a lot, I'll wear eye makeup, but like I dress down, and I'm also a fucking dork. And I do crazy guitar solos and stupid dances, and I fall down, and I cosplay as a man, and like, I have all this shit. And I think a lot of the time, the first video I posted on TikTok that blew up, I mean, by my standards, was the one where I said, when I tell people I cosplay, and it's got a bunch of those sexy pictures of like the girls in latex, which is very hot, don't get me wrong, but then it says what I actually do, and it's the footage of me as Herbert West. And that was very much like me sort of coming out into the world and saying, hey, this is what my horror fandom looks like. Yes, I'm a woman. Yes, I have boobs. You're not going to see a lot of cleavage from me. You're not going to see a lot of, that's not me. That's not my fandom, and I think people expect that, especially of female horror fans, that we need to be young, we need to be busty and covered in blood. And don't get me wrong, I like it.
I like it
but
too.
That's not, all the time.
This is how I dress, right? So I wear a lot of horror. My entire wardrobe is horror t-shirts. I have over 100 friggin' horror t-shirts. I do have some nicer clothing for my going out horror. Like I have a dress with bats on it. I don't, it is exactly that. My cosplay is bloody, and the most sexiest cosplay that I have ever done is that picture that you shared on Instagram where you made the little infographic that you were going to be on my show.
Yes, which I loved your look in that.
Thank you. That's my sexiest cosplay. Everything else that I do is like Pazuzu. I've done a full-on Pazuzu cosplay. I do vampires and I love blood and guts, but you're not going to see my boobs popping out of my shirt because that's not. Right. And I'm no disrespect to the women that do that. I'm not jealous that you have that confidence. Fucking rock it. You've got those titties. Fucking rock it. I don't really care. I'm not going to talk down to you because that's what you show. It's just that not everybody, but there are people that expect that when they hear that you do horror cosplay, and then when I show people my horror cosplay, they're like, okay. And I'm like, what? And I'm not going to show. Yeah. I had somebody message me on Instagram and tell me that I need to start doing sexy poses with my masks and shit like that if I'm a horror fan. Because there's a lot of Instagram ladies that, will wear a Friday the 13th mask and be in like a tiny pair of lacy underwear. Or they'll have,
again,
no problem. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. It's just, that's not me.
Exactly.
I know, more power to her if she's body confident and she got that booty. Even if she doesn't get that booty and she does it, more fucking power to you. That's not every horror woman. We're not the same. We're just like men. You know what I mean? But we just got tits. That's we like the same things, and not every man that does cosplay is going to be friggin' half naked and bloody. But, they are great. More power to you.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I completely agree with you. I think it's wonderful. I'm very body positive, sex forward. Like, it's so important. If you want to, if you want to embrace your sexuality, your body, there's nothing wrong with that. But please don't expect me to do it just because I have the same body, as the other people who do it. That's my only gripe,
I fully agree with you. Mike 777, thank you so very much for sacrificing your soul to the horde. Normally, I have my whole little geeky thing that I do. Fire horns go off, In This Moment plays, and I literally headbang to it. Unfortunately, it's not connected right now, but I thank you so very much for that sub. I greatly appreciate it, and your name is going on my sub coffin. Donnie, wow, thank you for the host. But yes,
I'm
men
really
have
sad that like my presence is keeping you from headbanging though.
Oh, no. Well, I like to put my stuff on YouTube, and YouTube is very, very picky on sounds, music, and trailers. And I've been working on growing my YouTube channel, and a lot of the times they like to, I'll do a reaction to a movie trailer, and of course I lose monetization when I'm not monetized on there yet anyway, but the monetization goes to somebody else, or they'll partially block it in different regions, or they'll full on block it or all over. So
Yeah.
YouTube is very picky, and I love putting my videos on YouTube when I have interviews because it extends your reach. So for someone who didn't come here and knows about Twitch, won't get to see it, but someone who's a part of the community on my YouTube channel is going to get to see it. And that's a new person that sees you. And then, wow, let me go and check these links because I put all of your links in the bottom of my YouTube description.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
No problem. Again, like I said, I love making people rise, right? Because nobody is going to do it for us, right? And there's so much competition out there. I honestly do not believe anybody is my competition except for myself. And I don't look at you as a female horror creator and go, oh my God, she's going to take my views. Oh my God, she's going to take my... There's enough people in this fucking world to share. That's a huge thing amongst the women in this, and even men. There's some men who won't even talk to you because they're afraid your boobs will take their views.
No, I've actually been, I'm not going to say who it is.
Yep.
I have absolutely been ghosted by one very particular TikTok creator, ignores me anytime I go into their live, never likes my stuff, follows me, never likes, never comments on anything, has never responded to any of my comments. And I swear to God, I'm almost positive that it's because he feels that way. It's really sad because I really liked his content, but I'm just like, dude, you're not interacting with me at all. And there's this attitude that I've gotten from him a couple of times where I swear it's like he feels like I'm trying to capitalize on his audience by going into his lives and things like that. There's this attitude, and it's like, dude, I don't care if I'm not doing this to make money. I'm not doing this I just really love horror movies and like talking about them with other people. That's why I'm here. And so, like, it's not about being in competition. It bothers me when I see people kind of feeling that way, where they feel threatened by somebody else. And because there's no reason for that. Like, if you're making content and you're promoting films and content creators and conventions and the family, I don't mean to sound like a mafia member, but like, if you're promoting the family, then you're doing good work. So like, why would I ever want to cut that down, you know? Exactly. And if you can do it better than me, then that's great. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know.
And I completely agree with you on that level. It's ridiculous that, you know, even the opposite sex has an issue. Not all of them, but I agree. There are people who, you know, they follow my content, but then won't even talk to me, won't even give me time of the day. And it's usually because they're worried that I'm going to take their views or their whatever it's going to be. And it's like, dude, I don't really give a shit. You know, I share, I duet people on TikTok is big. So I duet and I share other people's content, and I don't do it because I want to take from them. I do it because I'm like, look at this person I just found.
Yeah, no,
right?
I do the same thing. I get so excited and I'm like, hey, check this person out. And I mean, I get it. I really do get it. I don't live on the West Coast, but I did spend some time in Los Angeles, and I remember what it was like being around people where the standard seemed to be, what can you do for me? You know, and I'm not saying that that's the whole of LA. I mean, I know there are people that live in LA and love it and it works for them. But like, I encountered a lot of people that was sort of the attitude. It was like, hi, my name is blank. What's your name? Okay, cool. What can you do for me? There's that mentality. So I get why people are skeptical. I really do. And I know how hard it is to build something from the ground up. Like, it's hard, and you don't want to lose it. You know, when the whole world is a popularity contest, there's a lot of competition, and it's sad that we feel that way. I get why we do.
Yep.
But just for the record, I don't ever feel like that. You know, like, I'm not threatened by anybody. I'm just some random chick who talks about movies sometimes. And if it ever goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. And if it doesn't, then I've created content, made good friends. And that's all that matters to me. So I don't know. It's just really sad.
I am completely on you with that, because it's like, just people need to just calm the fuck down. If someone so here, I have a nice, lovely community that I love with my heart. They are my family. They are my backbone. I fucking love you guys. I am not afraid to share them with another horror creator. I love the fact that some of them are going to go to your socials. They're going to follow you on TikTok. They're going to listen to your podcast. Because this is what it's about. It's not about you and me. It's about the celebration of a horror and everything that goes into it. I'm not going to gatekeep my community because, oh my God, they might like her better than me.
Right.
No,
That's
I don't really care about that. And I raid people. So what a raid is when I end my stream, I take this awesome family I have and we go into someone else's stream doing whatever they're doing, whether it's video games or just chatting, and I introduce them to other people, right?
Yeah.
And I got no problem doing that because I'm not afraid. You know, if someone does become a fan of theirs and they go into their stream, I'm glad I was able to introduce you to somebody else, right? It's this whole mindset that we really got to get out of when we look at other people that are in the same genre as a competition. We're all here. We love horror. Why can't we just celebrate that?
Hell yeah. No, very well said. Hell yeah.
We are coming up on our time. We got 15 minutes. Oh
my gosh.
I know, time flies. It's such a time flies so fast because you get so enthralled with the conversations, especially when they're really good, and you know.
This has been so much fun.
I had a blast and would love to have you come on the show again. Are there any projects that you're working on that nobody knows about, or anything that you want to get out there for people to hear?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked me. So this isn't actually like my thing, but it is sort of. So as I mentioned, I am in a relationship with a man named Gory Rory. You can find him on YouTube. He's a composer, and he also composes scores for films. And he recently scored a short horror film called Unknown Caller, which was directed by our friend John Gonzalez from the slasher community. And he had me provide vocals for a variety of the music pieces for the film. And then there is a song that we wrote together called On for Miles, which you can find on his YouTube channel, which will be included in the film as well. That movie, John Gonzalez just finished cutting the film like a week and a half ago. And we don't know when exactly it will be out, but it will be out hopefully soon. It's going to be so great. Our friend Monica Gutierrez did the special effects, some fantastic actors. It's a really cool horror story about a woman or a man on a cell phone in a car. Almost the whole movie takes place in a car. A lot of phone horror for Scream fans. It's going to be great. So that's a thing. And as a result of it, I now have an IMDb page, which I never had before. So that's really neat.
Sweet.
And then in a couple of weeks, I'll be posting a new episode of my podcast where Zombie Bry, who is a TikTok cinephile that I love, I met through TikTok. He and I are going to be ranking the entire Friday the 13th franchise together and discussing all of that. And that's about it for now, I think.
That's amazing. And if your boyfriend or your friend is interested in coming on the show, put it out there. I love bringing light independent creators. Not everybody likes to be in the public eye.
I'm sure. Now, my boyfriend's a very private person, so he probably, that's one of the reasons why nobody really knows that I even have a boyfriend, because I don't really talk about him much. But
mine's the same way. But
John Gonzalez would probably love it. So
definitely put it my way. I love independent film creators. I love fan-made films. I'm a huge supporter, and the Horde are big supporters of independent. A lot of them back films because they've seen it here. They've heard about it here where they didn't hear it before, because again, independent films like Womp Stomp films, Red Crow films, they don't really get the media coverage that they should get because they're independent. They don't got the big production companies behind them throwing money at them, right?
Yeah, no, that's so true. And I, on that note too, I just wanted to really quickly also say, and I know that you're a member of that community, but just talking about, like independent creators and sort of smaller time horror fans, if anybody, I cannot recommend the Slasher app enough. Like, I just can't recommend that community enough to people. It changed my entire life. And Damon, the man who created it, is such an incredible person who devotes his life to giving a platform to small horror creators of all kinds. And if you're not a member of the Slash community and you love horror, please consider checking it out.
The Slasher app is great. I know when Joe Bob on the last drive-in did a shout out for the Slasher app, it bogged down the site, so there was some slight issues, but you guys got to remember, he is not Mr. Moneybags, and he doesn't have big companies backing him to get the bandwidth that's needed and the stuff that's needed with that site. So you may have some issues with it, but it did have a huge influx of members due to Joe Bob Briggs and the last drive-in, because they did a shout out.
Yeah, she broke us.
She did, and I've known Damon since before he started that app.
Nice.
So, and it's nice to have, I Slack on there because I'm on so many different social medias.
Same.
Slack on Slasher, but I always throw up stuff on there. I've met so many amazing people on there. a lot of the indie people like a Womstomp Films, Vincent DeSanti, James Sweet, Todd Jenkins, Billy Blair. They're all on that app as well, because it's a great way to connect with other horror fans and get your content out there.
Well, yeah, that film that I was just talking about, Unknown Caller,
yeah,
the majority, a lot of the crew members, including myself, Gory, Rory, Monica, like a lot of us, John met us all through Slasher. I mean, this film is not entirely Slasher, run, but there are a lot of people that he met through the community that worked on this film. It was incredible.
That's awesome.
It's just it's a great way to connect with other fans. And yeah, Darcy, man, when she name dropped the app, I couldn't log on for a week. We had so many new members.
I couldn't. I tried, and I even made a post, and I'm like, anybody tell me if is it me or am I having issues? And Damon contacted me. He's like, no, we had an influx of people due to the Joe Bob show that Darcy, blew the name out there. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And yes, it is a free app. It is a free app. You can download it. You can download it right now for iOS and Android. You can utilize it. It's like Instagram, but they don't do videos yet. And I don't know if they're ever going to plan to do videos, but they have a whole section for reviews, friends. They've got the community. They also have a dating side of the app as well, which is if you go in and you click, I think it's on the left hand side, the little drop down, and you can actually see what's there. It is a free app. I recommend it. Molly recommends it. I've told you guys numerous times about it. It's a great app.
Thank you for letting me plug it too, and thanks for plugging it with me, because I always add a link into the description of every podcast episode, even when I don't talk about Slasher, just because I want so badly to just keep helping drive people over there, because it's just such a great community. But
yep. And if you do have issues with it, just give it a few moments. Like I said, it could be a little laggy due to the influx of members, because it did get a lot of members. So there's a lot of people on it. And again, this is coming out of their own pocket and whatever advertisements people are paying for this. They're not owned by Facebook. They're not owned by a big corporation like Amazon that can back them. This is coming out of the pockets and donations of fans of the horror genre that are a part of this app.
Yeah. I really can't thank you enough, by the way, for just inviting me on here today. This was so much fucking fun. And your community seems like just such a great community of people. And it was just, I could talk to you for another 4 hours. So
I know. It's so easy, and we got stuff to do. I'm getting hungry. My elder spawn is texting me like crazy.
I got to go to work in an hour. So.
Oh yeah, so we gotta let you go. But Molly, oh my Lord, woman, it was so great having you on the show. Thank you so very much for being here and chatting with us. Love awesome. It. Thank you for being our first female podcaster on the show. That is a history in the making right there. Again, if you guys want to follow Molly, please, !guest. Her link tree is in there. Her TikTok, her podcast, everything is in there. Please go check her out. Show her some love. Comment on there. Do what you guys do best. Make sure you give her a follow, because she's pretty freaking awesome. Thank you again for coming on to the show and chatting horror with us. It was a great time getting to know you. Good luck on all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, and good luck to you as well. I hope that Coffee Chat of Horrors continues to grow, and I hope that you have massive success on YouTube, because you deserve it. I
appreciate that. I'm definitely trying. You have a great day at work, Molly.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Bye. Let's get to our just chatting scene here for a second. Oh, there's all of the Firebot stuff. Look at Firebot. Now fucking refreshing over here. What did you guys think about Molly? She is one of my new favorite people. Thank you guys for being amazing as usual. You guys make this stream, this channel go round. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to do the things that we do here currently. And yeah, Firebot, activate. You are amazing. Thank you guys. She was amazing. Again, that's Molly Oblivion. This VOD will be edited and thrown up on my YouTube channel. It'll also be on my podcast of Coffee Chat of Horrors. There will be a short on TikTok as well. I am biased and have known her for years, but yes, she is awesome. She is Han. I met her a few months ago, like I said, on TikTok. Melancholy, welcome to the crypt. Thank you for the follow. I met her on TikTok, and I like I said, I fell in love with her dance moves from horror movies and her Dr. Herbert West. That's what actually attracted me to her content. And then as I followed her and got to know her more, and as she created more content, I've seen how awesome she is. This is Molly. Oh, awesome! Thank you, Molly, for the thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for the follow.